Most oval tracks on the NASCAR schedule are pretty similar in oval shape, as the name implies, with 4 turns and 2 straightaways. Well, tonight we face a slight departure to the norm, 3 straightaways and 3 turns of different banking and radiuses. But some drivers love it and other drivers hate it, but one thing's for certain, it will be a challenge for the drivers tonight. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with the Area Pro Series, heading to round number 2 here at Pocono. My name is Finity Kuna, here with Connor Horn, Hunter Sleppy. Guys, glad to have you back in the booth with me as always to head to the next round in this fantastic championship.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a wild championship, Vinny, and it's already been a wild start. The season's still a week behind, but we're back on track as far as tracks are concerned. All 3 series headed to Pocono this week. Maybe a little bit of rocky start. We've had some good racing. We've had some tough times as well. 20 cautions over the 2 races we've had this week at the Tricky Triangle. It has been tricky. It's lived up to his name so far, Hunter, but we'll see what we get tonight. Should be a different race from what we saw in the Cup cars and the trucks here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. And we have a big field per usual as well. Still have some DNQs to sort out in about 3 minutes time.
Yeah, looking at the Pro Series in the past year, the most yellows we've had in a race was all the way back in Season 1, whenever this whole shindig began for Area. That was 5. And we went caution-free for Season 3, and then Season 4 we only had 3 yellows. So typically this race goes a good bit of ways on the green flag side of things. We do have some pit stops in mind to keep an eye on that. Strategy played out in the end of the Cup race, and then Tuesday, you can pick and choose which which strategy you want to be in, as long as you avoided a wreck, which we used all 3 overtimes in that scenario. Don't know if we'll be able to see that again tonight, Finian, but one thing I will have to keep an eye out for is the tunnel turn. That's always been the tricky part of Pocono. We saw a couple of incidents there on Monday and on Tuesday, so looking for that to be the tricky spot, ironically, at the Tricky Triangle.
Yeah, taking a look at also the drivers making a name for themselves in practice, at least before we head over to qualifying. Andrew Payne topping the leaderboards in the number 77 car. We'll see if he can have a decent performance, and up by a couple hundredths of a second over this man, David Weishart, currently second on the timing sheets.
It's pretty important for Payne to have a fast time in single lap speed. He's one of our open cars. We're sending at least 4 drivers home. It could be more if anyone registers in the next 2-3 minutes. So the 77 being at the top is pretty important. You do have at least one former winner at this track in the top 5. That's John Furness, 5th on the timing sheet, but he's a full 10th off the 77 of Payne, as Ryan Hart's actually just jumped to 2nd. He's not a former winner here. I'm getting hungry for Raising Cane's. Besides that, Ryan Hart's, he's pretty fast here. He just hasn't been able to get the victory lane at this track, but very fast in his number 54 Supra.
The more mid the food, the more appetizing later as we get into the evening. But yeah, Ryan Hart's had a solid qualifying effort on Monday. As far as the race results, not so much, but Brad Slaughter was another driver who just needs something to go in his direction. Hasn't been good in trucks or Cup to start the season. Not to mention, I didn't even mention this on Monday night, he was set to fly out to Indianapolis for the NASCAR weekend when the whole Counter-Strike shindig went amiss. So he had to drive 10 or 11 hours up to Indianapolis and back, and he got home just in time for the race on Monday. So a little bit more settled in is Brad Slaughter, so could be looking at a good sight for that 8 car. Could be in the top 10 tonight. And like you mentioned, Connor, we have a former winner here in John Furness, but we also have, do we have James Skyley? Because I picked him Monday night and he wasn't even in the race.
No, not here yet.
Yeah, I was going to say, he might be maybe very late, very fashionably late to the party, but at the moment, no James Skyley on the timing screen. With 30 seconds left in practice, drivers getting their final runs out, or if anything, may want to practice pit stop. And because Hunter, we talked about this before for the Pro Series, it usually goes fairly clean and green at this track.
Yeah, the last yellow we had in the Season 4 race came at around 49 to go. At least a 45 lap run to the end, so going to be interesting seeing if you want to do 4 tires or 2 tires, and then you have to first not speed in the pit road and then not overslide your pit box. This is another 2.5 mile track. Speeds are going to be pretty high, so you're going to want to slow down and not overslide your pit stall just to avoid any errors on pit road.
And with that, qualifying is going to begin as practice ends, and we'll find out the 43 drivers that will be lined up here after sending home a handful of drivers. Again, the car counts in all 3 series have been phenomenal, and to the point where we're having to send some drivers home just and showing the level of competition that's entered all 3 series for season 6 across the area competition. And we'll head down to qualifying because these drivers don't have a whole lot of time to get out there on the track. 5 minutes to set 1 lap. It sounds like a lot of time, but it's also a lot of pressure as well for these drivers.
Especially for the open drivers who have to qualify on time. They don't really have time to wait. And I think a bunch of drivers aren't going to wait because you see a lot of a track. Ooh, Slaughter's going to go over the bumps. Don't go down there tonight. But you see most of the track is not in sunlight. It looks like the tunnel turn is, but turn 1 was completely in shade. So some drivers might want to take advantage of that now and just get out there. You see it is partly cloudy, maybe mostly cloudy. But either way, there's clouds. Slaughter's going to have to maybe restart his lap. But it wasn't too big of a hit, so it might keep going. The track temp's 95. It was a little bit hotter to start the truck race on Tuesday night. So we'll see who wants to go out now and who doesn't. Looks like Jake Nichols is going to try to take advantage of the shade over the racetrack as well, as we should see majority of the drivers already on track setting laps at this point.
Yeah, this is one of the more dynamic things about Pocono. It's 2.5 miles long. It's such a huge racetrack where literally it could be raining on one end of the racetrack and sunny on the other side. And riding on board here, I believe, is this Brad Slaughter? Yes. So you don't want to go all the way towards the inside wall during the first backstretch or the second backstretch because of how bumpy it is. It might seem like it's entertaining to go down in, but nope, you go over one bump and then you're just along for the ride. So you don't want to do that. And here's the tunnel turn that Slaughter's going in. Going to be a tricky corner to get through, let alone could see 2 wide, 3 wide. They even went 4 wide on Monday night and somehow made that work for the most part.
Now working through turn 3. Very flat, very long corner. You can make or break your lap through here. And you can hear the understeer in the car. The tires struggling for grip as Brad Slaughter comes flying across the start-finish line. What's the lap going to be? 54.312. Good enough for second as the times begin to roll in.
And so he goes second. David Weishart, we talked about Weishart, but he's also one of our 3 former winners here. 2 of them in the field in Weishart, as well as the 28 of Furnace. Jeff Wright goes 10th for the time being. Weishart's on pole by about a tenth and a half. Beckner goes second to number 27 across the line. As this is how quickly qualifying goes. Can't really follow it. We just gotta pick and choose who we see. A couple of 609 drivers go top 3. Jake Nichols second. Zachary Carr third. As Ryan Hartz has come through the tunnel turn. And right when the session started, Hunter, it looked like the tunnel turn was in sunlight, but it seems like a lot of drivers caught it when it wasn't in sunlight. But now it's turn 3 that seems like it has all sorts of sun over it.
Yeah, nothing but bright sun shining down on turn 3. There is no turn 4 at this racetrack, of course. Only 3 corners at this track, all very different, as Zach Nichols goes through the tunnel turn and going to get through there just fine. That reminisces of Indianapolis Motor Speedway turn 3 here, this long left-hander. That's Milwaukee Mile. And then once these guys get down into turn 1 for the initial start, it's it's a tight left-hand turn, also a long left-hand turn, modeled after Trenton Speedway.
And across the line for Zach Nichols in the 44 machine. Where does he end up? He will end up 11th on the scoring sheet. Ryan Hartz, we're just looking at him. He's heading through the back part of the racetrack. Matthew Bell also right in behind him. Connor Kresick actually has not yet put a lap in. And he is going to be, I think, out of it. Yeah, he hasn't started a lap. I don't think Kresick has enough time to put a time in.
I don't think so. So not too many more drivers are going to be able to put a time in. You pretty much have to cross the line in the next 10 seconds. And Okrezik won't get there in time as he's coming through the tunnel turn. I believe he is one of our locked-in drivers, so it won't hurt him as far as missing the race, but he will at least have to start at the rear. Bryce Senesek is also locked into tonight, at least from what I'm seeing. Unless that's wrong. No, he is locked in, but he's also not going to get around to at least do another lap, but I think this will be to put a lap down as Weishart, Nichols, and Bell over top 3. See how Senesek does across the line. Or was that the start of his lap? No, it was to end his lap, but it's only bottom 30, 37th, which is not what he was looking for.
Well, there's Matthew Bell as time's almost expiring. With the reduction of time from 10 minutes to 5 minutes, Finian, you kind of have to go out almost instantly. Otherwise, you're going to be flirting with disaster. Like Cameron Hearn, he's not going to get that time in.
No, he's not going to get enough time in. It's very quick. It's a lot of pressure to get out there and perform, and then unfortunately, if you don't perform, if you're an open driver, that might be you sitting on the sidelines. But for Cameron Hearn, I believe he is locked in, so shouldn't have an issue for the number 4 machine as qualifying is over as quickly as it began. And now we got a little bit of a warm-up session to prepare for the main event. But before we get to the warm-up period, as we're transitioning into it, I want to thank the Area iRacing Twitch channel. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat and earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today. As warm-up begins, we'll let the admins take a break, and they're not going to take a break. They'll get down to the spreadsheet and figure out who are going to be the open drivers making it in. And the 4 drivers we have set to be walking home empty-handed.
And it looks like we have that. The drivers that are in are Tom Bourne, Andrew Payne, DeWeese, Jump, Heilman, Forbes, Cedric Hunter, RJ Williams, and the last driver in on time is Justin Anna Sogak with a 54.620. And then our 4 DNQs for the night are Ben Pierce, Ryan Nardone, Timothy Stubblefield, and Ryan Nowicki. So those 4 going home. Once again, we'll get later in the season. We'll probably have less DNQs, if not no DNQs, but you still have to have the speed to make the field. It's kind of different for charter drivers compared to open drivers. Charter drivers can really focus on their race trim, Hunter, and see how they can do in the race because they don't have to race their way in or qualify their way in. But these open drivers, they can't really practice that because they have to make sure they at least make the field first. And for those 4 drivers, they just didn't have enough.
Yeah, some of the times might be deceiving for some, like Bryce Senesac might be better in race trim, and Connor Okrezik didn't even put a lap time down, neither did Cameron Hearn as well. So this will be interesting, seeing how those guys are going to have to navigate their way through the field. It's no easy task, not to mention we hardly get any cautions here. We do get some, but they're just really spaced out, and then towards the second half of the race, we really go green to the end, so see if that changes or if that stays the same.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out over the course of the season. We always, of course, love seeing so many drivers coming in. That's not what you want to, how you want to ride there, Ryan. I don't think that'll work. No. The good old watermelon farmer trick, the Hail Melon.
Yeah.
Don't think that'll really work at Pocono.
I wouldn't think so. It's too big of a corner. And it's one thing we've also got to note. We did note the DNQs, but you also have that rec score that we've noted new this season, making its debut across all 3 series. And not too many penalties from Daytona, but there will be EOLs. No, we're not. Yes, we are getting EOLs for, I believe, Alex Weaver, Blaze McKinney, and Rafe Slate because they caused yellows at Daytona, so that's why they get those EOLs. So those 3 will go to the rear. As we look on Justin Munsell, he's not one of those drivers going to the rear. The driver, number 6, in a number 6 shirt, Brett Kozlowski. I wonder, is that his throwback shirt? I don't think so, but either way,
I have that. Yeah, that's the Castrol shirt. I have that same exact shirt. It's a very nice shirt. Not to mention the rest of the merch from RFK Racing. They've got pretty good merch, but might be a little superstition there for the number 6 driver wearing the number 6 shirt of Brad Kozlowski.
All right, as you take over into the race session, let's go through your starting lineup. Before we do that, I've got to thank the starting grid sponsor, Central Mobile Homes. Looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a triple crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and triple crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomeinc.com to get started today. And with that, let's go through your starting lineup because we have a lot of cars to get through. Starting on pole, it's going to be David Weishart in the number 33. Next to him, Jake Nichols in the 73, going to be rolling off in second.
And then third position will go to the 43 of Matthew Bell, and then the 11 of Philip Groner will start fourth, our winner from Daytona last week.
Moving on back to fifth, it's going to be Zach Carr in the number 97. Next to him, Blaze McKinney. Solid qualifying effort for him. 87 car will be in sixth.
He will go to the back with one of those EOLs, but still good qualifying effort in sixth. Seventh position, Travis Beckner in the number 27. He's always fast, and one of our former winners at Pocono in the field. Eighth position, John Furness.
Moving back to ninth, it's going to be Ryan Hartz in the number 54 machine. Next to him, Justin Fuller lined up in the 55 in 10th.
Just outside the top 10, we're going to go to 11th position, Brad Slaughter Jr., who we saw in practice, at least featured him for a little bit. He'll start alongside the number 84 Toyota Supra of Shane Abbey.
Moving back to 13th, it's going to be Zach Nichols in the 44 machine. Next to him, Alexander Bryson in the 38 machine, lined up in 14th.
15th position, Trey Eitzen in the 22, who had a pretty wild crash on Monday night, alongside 16th place, another driver getting an EOL, but 16th on pace, Alex Weaver.
Moving on back to 17th, it's going to be Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Next to him, Tom Bourne lined up in 18th in the number 16.
19th position, Andrew Payne, one of our fastest open qualifiers. He starts 19th, and Braxton DeWeese, another open qualifier, starts 20th.
Moving on back to 21st is going to be Ed Robertson, the number 64. Next to him, Nathan Jump, lined up in the 83 car in 22nd.
23rd position, Justin Munster, who we just saw a little bit ago, in 23rd, and Alex Bell in his Supra. No, he's in a Camaro this season. He starts 24th.
Moving on back to 25th is going to be Garrett Grant in the number 5 machine. Next to him, Levi Hillman in the 99, riding in 26th.
27th position, Jeff Wright, who came maybe 200 feet from a win at Daytona last week. He'll start 27th tonight, alongside John Forbes Jr. in 28th.
Moving back to 29th, Machine Terrian in the number 9 machine. Next to him, Cedric Hunter, lineup in the 70 and 30th.
31st position, the 61 of Bronson Stafford, a regular of the Pro Series, alongside another regular of the Pro Series and a regular on SimTV, Case Lakatos.
Moving on back to 33rd, it's going to be RJ Williams, lineup in the 21 machine. Next to him, Justin Anisogak, the last open driver to make it in, lineup in 34th.
And then 35th position is one of our drivers, or I believe maybe two of our drivers who did not make the field. Ben Pierce, Ryan Nardone did not make the field.
Bryce Dennis lined up in the 09 machine. Next to him in 38th is going to be the 92, Timothy Stubblefield.
Stubblefield, our third driver not making the field. These two drivers did make the field. Joey Chapman will be lined up 39th. Rafe Slate will be lined up 40th.
We're back to 41st. Ryan Nowicki lined up in the 74 machine. Ryan Swan next to him in 20th and 42nd.
And Nowicki also didn't make the field, so everyone else behind these drivers did make the field, including the 51 of Matt Kemp and the 4 of Cameron Hearn. And these are mainly drivers who did not put times down. We'll start way at the back.
And 45th, we have Connor Kresik in the 14, Jeremy Miller lined up in 30 car 46th, and rounding out the 47 entries that entered into tonight, Colin Fambro in the number 18. Pace car will not be off this time by. You can see the lights back on it as we kind of are looking at the field. It's on the background. A lot of drivers still working through the back half of the racetrack. In fact, here's Jeremy Miller coming through the entry of turn 3 right now. So everyone getting organized, getting one more lap to get organized, because it takes quite a while to get all 43 cars off of pit lane.
Yeah, certainly does. This is kind of new to area this season because of the caution point system having to give drivers EOLs. It started to become an issue at Texas. A lot of drivers didn't get caught up at Texas and Pocono, so we're starting to EOL, at least do one more pace lap, and then we'll be all good and ready. I don't think it'll mess up any fuel strategy, because there's not much fuel strategy tonight. A 75-lap race, usually the Pro Series is actually accustomed to 70-lap races, but that's what the truck race was scheduled to be on Tuesday night, and ended up being 81 laps due to green-white checkers. But 75 laps tonight, you'll likely, you'll certainly be doing 2 stops unless you try something crazy.
Yeah, not to mention Monday night, the pace car was flying compared to other tracks, so some of the guys in the back didn't make it to the initial start. But with that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and make my pick. I'm going to go with...
Someone in the field.
Yeah, someone is in the field, and it's that 27 car, so I'm going with Travis Beckner tonight.
All right, I like that. Travis Beckner. Connor, what's going to be your pick?
I do want to pick one of my cars, but I won't. So there's a lot of drivers. I picked Sebastian Marin, and he was fast but didn't get a lot of luck. But I do like John Furness tonight. He'll start 8th. He's a former winner here. And the first winner, I believe, at Pocono in this series was Weishart, and he started 8th and went to victory. I'm going to say Furness does that tonight.
All right, I think he's going to go 2 for 2. I think Philip Groner in number 11. I'm liking him. The speed he's shown so far across all this area series, that 11 car is fast. I think he's going to be near the front. But at the front, at the moment, it's David Weishart. 43 cars strong here at Pocono. Field rounding out of turn 3. Pace car in. And off they will go. 75 laps on the board, and we are green here at Pocono. to the start-finish line to complete lap 1. It's going to be Jake Nichols leading the field. Weishart fighting for second place over Philip Groner on the attack on the inside.
It's the same thing we saw Tuesday night where the pole sitter does not lead lap 1. The outside lane, if they can just get a good enough jump and stay on the outside of the race leader, they can get that position away. It's exactly what Jake Nichols did, and Groner, his teammates, trying to follow him through. John Furness, I believe he started 8th, and he's already up to 4th, and the caution's out. We got a crash out of turn number 1. It's RJ Williams in the inside wall.
That did not take long at all.
No, it did not. Caution already out. Lap number 2. See if the number 21 car had some help, and I believe he did.
Looking 4 wide. Well, it will be 3 wide. Chapman, McKinney, and Williams, and they kind of got hooked together.
Oh, wow.
He's going to hit the inside wall hard.
Someone nearly avoided disaster there, so we'll take another look.
Yeah, that could have been much bigger, but it was at the back. This is probably for around like 36th place.
21 gets up into Blaze McKinney and goes spinning across the track. Wow. Wonder who was the car that just narrowly avoided disaster there.
Could have been. I thought it was Weaver, but I
Okresic.
couldn't quite tell. It might have been Okresic as well.
Want to ride on board with him and see his point of view. Oh, we'll ride on board with Blaze McKinney. Actually, misclick. We'll check 87. You can. I think for him, he's going to say that he was definitely felt squeezed there as he had the 60 at Chapman to his outside.
Someone's hood went flying too. It looks like Rafe Slake maybe got ran over. He had rear end damage there, but something about turn 1, Hunter. It's been biting. You talked about the tunnel turn, but it's been turn 1 that's been wreaking havoc on cars this week.
Yeah, just a lot of wide entries. And, oh my gosh, yeah. A lot of wide entries, and got to get them all wadded up going down the one of the backstretch here because of how aero dependent it is, although this car not so much aero dependent as the Cup or the truck car, but still helps to get a run on the backstretch, and the draft definitely helps a ton here, but not a whole lot as we're already under yellow on lap 3.
Yeah, not too long for the pace to already slow down for these drivers, and I think for Weiser it's going to be maybe him a chance to rebound, trying to retake the lead. And as we mentioned, it's been the story for all 3 series this week here at Pocono. They have not been able to lead on lap 1. The pole sitter, I should say.
Yeah, so just like Daytona, it's another 1-2 for 609 Motorsports. Clap it up, clap it up. But it just shows how important the initial starts are, because if you don't get a good enough jump as the race leader, you're gonna lose the lead, because having overlap to the outside on someone is so important on the exit of 1 down Long Pond straightaway. The same thing Tuesday night, like we talked about, and once again it bit the pole sitter. And Tuesday night it was Slaughter, and tonight it's Weishart going backwards, at least to start. I think he probably would have had a good chance keeping that second position had we gone green, but the yellow came at such an inopportune time for a 33 that it's put him back to 3rd. But before we went yellow, I was noting Furness. I don't know how quite he did it, but he went 8th to 4th, and it seemed like only a lap, so he's already showing some immense speed.
He got the initial start on that outside lane, which, like you mentioned, if you get a good enough jump, you can just stick it on that outside lane and hold your own, because it looked like, at least from my perspective, the 73 was about to wall it, but then again, I know nothing. Jake Nichols just dominates no matter where he goes, so that's why he took the lead very early on. That outside lane a little bit better than the inside lane on the initial start for some. Zachary Carr, though, I'm looking here, he's lost 4 spots since the initial start, which that's a little bit alarming if you ask me, that early on in the going. And we know how tires fade, and we got comers and goers as the run goes on, so maybe just a poor launch on the initial start for him, and maybe we'll see if he can rebound on this next restart.
Yeah, we'll see he can rebound here as the pace car is coming around. One more lap of pacing so we get back underway, and I'm sure these drivers can't wait to get back underway here. Pace laps very long here at Pocono, and for drivers a chance to relax, arguably, but they barely had a chance to really get going, so not really much to relax for.
No, I don't think they want to relax. I think they want green flag laps, but we've had struggles to do that this week. Like we talked about pre-race, talked about 2 sides of it. This Pro Series race at Pocono usually goes green. Our most yellows were 5, like Hunter mentioned, we've had caution-free races here, at least the one, but this week it's just been different with the way the Cup and trucks have raced. Single file, very drafty, hard to pass. I think that's what's caused a lot of crashes because everyone's just driving too hard to get track position. It's resulted in 20 yellows across both of those series. Now 21 across all 3 series, 8 on Monday, 12 on Tuesday, so much to the point we weren't able to end under green. We used up all 3 of our new green-white checkers, so we hope not to see that today. We get green flag laps, this thing gets spread out because it is not a draft track. These Pro Series cars, the Xfinity cars will get spread out. We just need to get to that point first.
Yeah, and as the cars are pacing through, ready to get back going, 27th on back from Jeff Wright on back, came down pit road. Not sure if that was anything with tires. I think most likely it was just a splash and go, Connor.
I would think so. You're not going to take tires after maybe a lap and a half. The fuel's going to be tight. You are probably still not going to be able to do a one-stop. You'd have to make it to about probably 38, 39, and you'd still need caution laps to make that work. But you never know. He started at the back, and I don't think he was the only one to come down to pit, so it's not the worst thing in the world to maybe try to get off strategy here.
Yeah, field coming to green. All right, there we go. Having a slight issue. My system is being pegged to its limit. There we go. It's trying to refresh paint schemes and do a bunch of little stuff. My computer was not having any of it. So finally my computer's calmed down. So let's hope it holds here. We've got all 42 cars that started this race out of turn 3. And we are back underway here at Pocono.
Much more organized start. Well, I say that, and we're 5 wide. It was organized at the front.
Oh boy, someone's got to back out here. 5 wide entering turn 1, almost 3 wide here. 4 wide in a couple parts there. That 51, I see the Taco Bell machine, Matt Kemp, in the middle of all of that. He's almost sideways coming off the corner.
Just trying to get sorted out before a tunnel turn. Mostly single file, or let's say not really mostly, but there are some side-by-side battles at the front through the tunnel turn for about the 6th position. Beckner and Fuller go side-by-side, and they'll stay side-by-side as looked like Nichols elected to take the top and got Groner back to
Whoa!
sixth.
97 spins! Oh,
How did he save that? How did he save
keep it on the
that?
access road. Unbelievable drive, and he's going to come back out like nothing happened.
We got to definitely take a look at that and how on earth Zach Carr was able to save it. That was a fantastic job of driving. Looks like I think the 44 of Nichols got into the back, Zach Nichols, and gave him a little bit of a turnaround. But what a fantastic save. We got it right on board.
Probably the first time that access road's been used for that. That is incredible. They can see a checkup right there. Zach Nichols couldn't react to it. Just a great job of car control there. And he has just perfect use of the access road to rejoin safely as well. Unfortunately, he's back to about 30th, but he saved a race car.
Took the Joker lap that time through turn 3, the impromptu Joker, as we head back to turn 3 with the 3rd position under battle. Weishart on the outside, Furness on the inside, Matthew Bell joining the party, as well as Beckner watching from behind.
Yeah, all these guys in a battle and getting an update. Apparently, Blaze McKinney, his engine detonated, so he's going to be out of the race early on in the 87 machine. As we look at Matthew Bell, bit of a bump from Travis Beckner in behind, giving him a shove to the front.
Yeah, I don't know why the 87 blew up. Maybe he downshifted into 3 or something, but the battles at the front are still going on, and Weishart has not had a great start to this race. He's started pole, didn't lead a lap, kind of like Slaughter, and he's almost in risk of going outside the top 5 this early on, as it looks like Beckner's trying to choose who to push. Looks like he'll push the 43 of Bell.
He's going to go to the outside now and get tucked in. Then he's going to duck back down to the bottom. Very interesting choice of lines here from Beckner, as now they head down into the short chute through turn 3, and he's going to give that bump to Bell just before corner entry. But he's got Fuller and Abbey fighting behind him for the 7th spot.
See Beckner trying to get a quarter panel in a little bit, just as he goes side by side with David Weishart, and there in behind Shane Abbey and Ryan Hart's in the 54. They're duking out for position as well.
Oh, they made contact, Beckner and Weishart. That was a little odd down the straightaway. Matthew Bell was given the 27 draft, and it almost looked like they kind of went into each other's lines, as that battle's going to keep going between these two. They always find each other. on this racetrack, or really any racetrack, and you could see how hard it is to hold it on the inside of someone. Beckner trying to pull him back with the side draft on the left rear quarter panel, just not able to do it as he's going to be firing it into a tunnel turn to try to get away from Justin Fuller.
Almost had a checkup effect. Car in the wall back there. I think that was Andrew Braxton DeWeese, actually. From Ryan Hart's on back, he checked up early heading into turn 2 and almost created a nasty incident. That's kind of what the back end of that was, as Brad Slaughter is trying to work his way towards the top 10.
So looking at Beckner trying to get alongside Weishart, fighting early on as most of the rest of the field is single file, somewhat getting themselves sorted out here in for the long haul. Weishart will lead them into turn 1, taking a look back at some of the other drivers in the field and some of the other battles going on, especially near the back part of this pack. You can see Cameron Hearn and Garrett Grant, they're side by side for position back here.
Yeah, these are two drivers who started far back, just trying to get through the field. Garrett Grant started 25th. He's kind of stayed there, but Cameron Hearn started 40th, pretty much at the rear of the field, and he's up about 15 spots, and Zachary Carr's right behind him, not only trying to recover for positions, but he's still probably trying to get the tires back under him. A slide like that, they got to be angry at you. The fact that he's even moved up after that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Shane Terrian there in the 9, going to get into action as well. Jeff Wright in the 48 also in the mix, and the car diving down to his inside. Don't know who that is, but that is the 77 of Andrew Payne, still trying to work his way inside the top 30.
Yeah, making a move on Jeff Wright. Jeff Wright has not had a necessarily great day so far. Still early on in the race. Started in 27th. He is currently back down 2 spots to 29th. I think he's kind of waiting for the tires to get old on a lot of drivers and push his way forward. But caught in a battle with not only Andrew Payne, but Bronson Stafford in the 61. He's side by side with him.
They got tight out of 1. He actually tapped the wall on the outside of Stafford, but no damage done. The Lowe's Chevy Camaro, but just struggling to get any track position, as that's going to be the name of the game as it was Monday, Tuesday. I think it's much easier to pass in these, but you're still going to want track position, as it looked like maybe Beckner got close to tapping the wall, but that track position is still going to be important, especially for the drivers 25th on back, who are probably going to need to do something to try to get to the front.
Looking at the back of Beckner, he did tap the wall and corner exit there from turn 3. Gets a shot from Fuller going into turn 1. And Fuller's going to get that run. Not so much of a run as I thought it would be, but nonetheless, he's going to have that draft. And behind him is Zach Nichols in the 44, poking out to get some fresh air right behind the 54 of Hearts.
Looking to see where he can make a move. He's had slow progress forward from 13th up into 9th, so it's just broken inside the top 10. Looking to see where he goes onward from that. And we mentioned Brad Slaughter as well. He's also been trying to move forward, but actually he's dropped 1 spot back. And there's Braxton DeWeese. You saw him tag the wall a little bit out of the tunnel turn, but that Ford Mustang, one of the few out here, has made some decent progress, up 7 spots. And actually the biggest mover, Ryan Swan, has gone from 38th to 16th.
He's done a great job getting through the field, and that really not many people pit on that one yellow, so he's passed majority of these drivers. Okrezik is the other big mover of this race. He started far back there as well, and he's up 20th. Matt Kemp and Jeremy Miller, a few others who have gotten from the back to at least the mid-pack for the time being, which is interesting because we're already single-filed out for the most part, side-by-side battles here and there, like this one with Justin Fuller and Ryan Hartz, 54 and 55. Fuller way high out of the corner, and the 54 got pinched. That's going to let Zach Nichols have another run into turn number 3 as he blinks out at a bad time, but he'll still make the dive for position.
Oh, he's trying to clear himself in front of Hartz. That's not going to work, and Hartz is going to get on his outside, and it's going to be side-by-side down the Long Pond straightaway for like 2 seconds, and then Hartz clears him, so Hartz takes over 8th, Nichols 9th, and then Shane Abbey holding on to that top 10 for the moment. He's getting challenged heading into turn 1.
And further back here, I see Connor Okrezik pulling out a line, making a move on the 99 of Levi Hillman.
Oh, Shane Abbey just pounded the wall out of turn 1.
Oh, yeah. He's dropping car parts on the track as well.
Slaughter got a big piece of front end damage out of that. It looked like Tom Bourne pretty much pulled a slide job in it. He just lost the nose because of it. As, yeah, there went the rear bumper, at least on our end, but it looks like he does still have it.
Yeah, it was a decent whack, and Brad Slaughter, there's a contact with him.
You can see the nose hunter, the nose and the hood are separated on the 8.
Yeah, he was battling with Tom Bourne to stay in that 10th spot. And I think right on a corner exit, Bourne came up in front of his car, got some dirty air on the nose, and just sent him into the wall. Nowhere to go for Brad Slaughter. Meanwhile, second place up for grabs. Furness to the inside of Philip Groner in turn 1.
Both of them duking it out. Groner on the outside, the 28 of Furness on the inside, and I think that 11, he's going to try to take advantage the longer way around, to run off the corner to secure the deal, and indeed he'll win in this exchange, so he'll hold on to second place. Furness has got to come up with another plan.
That's why you're probably going to see a lot of strategy involved in getting track position. That's how hard it's going to be to pass. I think Furness is faster than the 11, moment out of the tunnel turn there. I think he is a little bit faster, but it takes a much bigger advantage to make that pass work, and you might even need a push from the 43 if he can get up to you. So I would not be surprised to see drivers short pit just to get that track position because of what we saw right there, how hard it is to set up a pass. First off, it took him a while to set up that pass, Hunter, and he had his one chance in turn 1, and it was over just like that. Look at the ground he lost.
Yeah, it's allowing Matthew Bell, Weishart, Beckner to all gain ground. Even Justin Fuller, Brian Hart's at the tail end of that. Meanwhile, towards the back here, Nathan Jump in the 83 jumps to the inside of Ryan Swan in the 20, fighting for the 16th spot. Got Greg Mitchell in the 2 going with him, as well as they look to get around the 54 of Hartz, or 20 of Hartz, I should say. He ran 54 last year, but still has a strong fight heading into the tunnel turn.
Yeah, this is Ryan Swan and Nathan Jump duking it out. Swan still trying to make some forward progress on the outside. And in behind, you can see the 2, Greg Mitchell, 14, and Connor Kresick following in tow in frame.
Levi Hillman, so you've got Matt Kemp, Miller, Hearn, Carr, Ethereum all in this line behind this battle between the 83 and the 20, and that's how much side-by-side will slow you down. You kind of want to get sorted out and almost don't want to battle too harshly, or else you'll lose the drivers ahead. And it looked like Nathan Jump kind of just gave the position up at that point, as they're still battling all throughout the field, even for, I believe, 33rd. Ed Robertson, Bryce Senesac side by side. Andrew Payne and Jeff Wright are also battling, as Miller forced his way to the inside of Hillman, but could not get it done.
Yeah, you see Trey Eidson there fighting with Brad Slaughter to stay in front of them for 12th. Meanwhile, I was just about to say about Ryan Swan, he's starting to fall back a little bit now. Not sure if that was him just using up his tires a bit too soon and everyone else just kind of taking it easy. He's going to get wider on exit, leave Mitchell a room to the inside. Yeah, not sure if that's just tires fading, because he did make up a lot of ground in very little time. Connor Kresick, though, also trying to join in on the party, trying to make it a 3-car battle.
Yeah, I was kind of worried by seeing Swan make up so much progress. Of course, I think he made a couple extra positions from the pit stops potentially, but I did have concern that he was going to be dropping back after pushing the tires a little bit too hard. Greg Mitchell's gotten around him, or pretty much officially clear of him. Now it's Connor Kresick on the 14. He's trying to have a turn. So Matt Kemp in that Taco Bell machine trying to also get a run. He'll have a run on the back straighter. Does it make it 3 wide? He gives a push to the 14.
It looked like Miller tapped the wall trying to get by the 99, and Cameron Hearn's in the middle of that battle as well. And I think everyone's pushing by the 20 because they see him fading and don't want to be stuck behind him any longer than they want to. As Hearn got to the inside of Miller, that 20 still starting to fade back. Matt Kemp now going to the inside for that position in the turn number 3. As you can see, everyone kind of making that dive bomb move into 3 that we saw Monday and Tuesday night. It's just that hard to pass. You're going to see drivers diving in hard to try to clear up out of the corner. 51 was able to make it work that time.
And there's Heilman looking to enter the top 20, trying to get around the 54. Again, 20 of Swan. And he just waved at the camera because we started focusing on him.
I mean, he's watching the broadcast as well. That's uniquely challenging, I think, as a driver to watch a broadcast of a race you're racing in. Puts a little bit of extra pressure, but he's trying to catch up and see if he can get past the 20 of Ryan Swan. And in behind him, I think some action going on. A little bit of a shuffle. He mentioned Jeremy Miller in this pack. He's actually trying to make a move on the 99, who we're just falling on board with. Off he'll go to the inside.
Yeah, I was looking at Alex Bryson trying to get by Slaughter. The 8's damage really starting to make him struggle, but Miller finally makes that pass on Hillman that it seemed like he was trying to do for laps on end. Now teammate Zach Carr, he's still trying to recover. He's going to try to follow through, but doesn't have much drive off, and Hearn's just going to shove the 99 down the straightaway. It goes Weaver going to make it 3 wide.
Yeah, Heilman bounced off the turn 2 wall, and Now he's got 3 wide behind him, but in a comfortable position as he's only going to be on the outside lane. They get it down to side by side, and Carr looking to the inside of Hearn. Going to be tight there. Weaver's going to have to check up. Darian as well. Tight on corner exit.
Really tight, almost making contact there for a second, but they will avoid it and continue onwards. Alexander Bryson, I see him making some moves in the 38 machine. We're trying to make some moves here. He's battling on the outside. His inside Nathan jump.
Hillman hit the wall, entering the tunnel turn. I thought there was going to be a crash, but kept it straight. He's starting to fall backwards. Cameron Hearn now is going to come through as he got past Zachary Carr. 97 still going to fight. And we're not too far away from pit stops here. If we do 2-stop strategies, you're pitting, if you split it evenly, 25 and 50. Really no one at the front has pit. I did see Justin Anasogak pit. So he's the earliest of everyone trying to pit and maybe do a different strategy than everyone else. But we're starting to see things get spread out. The top 12 have really separated themselves from everyone else.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese has entered the top 10 in the middle of that, and Beckner was battling with Weishart for the 5th spot, but still hasn't been able to pass him just yet. Had Justin Fuller given him a shot down the turn 1, and now they go down the backstretch, and it's still Jake Nichols leading after 21 laps.
Just taking a look there. Whoa! I was saying, just taking a look there, just Sogak, as I just saw the 44 Zach Nichols make contact with the wall out of turn 2. And I think for a lot of these drivers that we're starting to see drop back, guys like Ryan Swan, who now drifted back to 23rd, they, I imagine, are going to be trying to go for a 2-stop strategy, because I think at this point... What's that?
Sorry, had a mini spin. Nathan jumping. Alex Bryson had contact in 3, and we had another Tokyo Drift moment in 3. Sorry to cut you off. I just thought that was also going to be a crash.
Take a look and see
that.
Wow. Right on board with Greg Mitchell, who got a decent look at this. Oh, wow. Great piece of driving from both of them.
Yeah, this turn 1, we also had Ryan Hartz make contact with the back of Justin Fuller. Now that 54 car's got a ton of right side damage. As we were looking at the battle for second, looked like Groner has kept the 28 behind him yet again, as it looks like these top 6 have really started to separate themselves now.
Yeah, the fight for 7th still going on between Fuller, Nichols, and Braxton DeWeese, and Hartz has exited the top 10. As you mentioned, he's got a bunch of right front damage. Right side damage, I should say. He's running in the 12th spot right now behind Trey Eidson.
Taking a look at Ryan Hartz in a little bit of a pack of his own. The field's starting to spread out a little bit more as well. I think as drivers that have pushed a little bit too hard, they're dropping back. Guys who have saved their stuff for a little bit later on, they're starting to move forward. We're seeing Justin Fuller, he's gone on the up and up. Nichols dropping a little bit back from where he started. Braxton DeWeese has had a pretty solid run so far in that 13. He's slowly moved his way up inside the top 10. In the, I think actually the lone Ford Mustang, actually no, one of 2 Ford Mustangs in the field. Oh!
Fuller tapped it. But yeah, he is, yeah, the Fords are rare this season, so giving it a good ride in the top 10 so far. We actually had 3 fast Fords on Tuesday. They all finished 34th or worse, though, because of incidents. That's how crazy that race was. And we still wait for the initial round of green flag stops to begin, but it's so rowdy in the mid-pack, it's not even a guarantee we get there, because the battle 23rd or so on back, Hillman, Grant, Carr, number of drivers there are still side by side. And you can see how much time they've lost. This battle for 24th, 25th is about 8 seconds behind the battle for the race lead.
Yeah, a lot more spaced out racing as we're nearing a third of the way done. Only 1 yellow up to this point, and gotta be on the mind of some when the first set of green flag pit stops are going to commence as Nichols and DeWeese fight for 8th in the tunnel turn. Got a little bit tight there, and DeWeese going to have to back off on corner exit.
Oh, DeWeese in the wall. I think both these guys are pushing a little bit too hard. I think they're a little bit under the helmets. I think that was, we saw Nichols chasing down DeWeese to the apron, trying to dissuade him from making a move, and I think DeWeese probably not too thrilled about that.
Yeah, and this is another thing that to note. We didn't really see shifting Monday or Tuesday. I am hearing some drivers shift. I think Matthew Bell was earlier. I'm not quite sure if he is now, as that battle for second is still going on. John Furness, this is the best run into turn 1 he's had on Philip Groner, as he's going to try once again to this inside line, as Matthew Bell, at the same time, he's trying to line up a run behind these 2 drivers, maybe take it 3 wide or push one or the other clear.
Yeah, going to be interesting seeing if this continues in the tunnel turn, and I don't think Furnace is going to back down, but if this persists, this could allow the 43 of Bell to get a good run, and Furnace got to back off, and here comes the 43 of Bell.
And you can see that happening.
Yeah, Bell taking advantage of the 28, and at this point in the run, these guys are struggling for grip. It's so hard to keep in that inside, and Bell, I think we're going to see the same issue with him. He's going to try to be the inside. Furnace is going to take the outside lane. The 33 Weishart, he's coming off and right on the money, lap 25.
And I think that was perfect timing because they were starting to stack up in front of him for that runner-up position. He takes the opportunity to pit. That'll probably bring some more drivers in to not let him get a big advantage. But you kind of saw that coming. Furnace drove it in so hard into the tunnel turn. He probably didn't think that he'd have to deal with the 11 on the exit, but Groner drove it in deep enough where he was still on the right rear, and the 28 either was going to cause a crash or lift. He chose to lift, cost him that spot, or almost cost him that spot to Bell. But then the 43 had the same issue.
It's an entire domino effect that now sees Fuller to the inside of Beckner, trying to take that 5th spot away through the tunnel turn. They go. Going to be tight on exit for Beckner. Going to have to back out. Here comes Zach Nichols. Going to join the party. He's going to make it 3 wide heading into turn 3.
Bold move with the tires this terrible later on in the run. Not a lot of grip for for all three of these drivers, but they're going to keep it in the gas. The 44 checks up. The 55 has to jump on the brakes, and he's going to lose out another spot. And I imagine Fuller not pleased at how that went.
I wouldn't think so. Here comes Brad Slaughter Jr. He pits from 15th, but still no one else coming down when we expected. That's telling me that maybe we're closer to a one-stop than we initially thought, as DeWeese and Nichols will go side by side again, even tighter than the last time through this set of corners, but they'll stay side by side on the corner exit, and they'll allow Justin Fuller to get back in the fight.
Yeah, Beckner had to clip the wall on corner exit in turn 3 just to be able to make it through unscathed from those to his inside in the middle of that 3-wide battle, but now they're door-to-door behind him. P6 on the line, DeWeese to the inside, Zach Nichols on the outside, and I think Beckner tapped the wall again. Another car behind him, Trey Eidson, did so. Fuller going to regroup heading into turn 3.
Fantastic battling going on here up near the front, just outside the top 5. And not a whole lot of them peeling off the pit lane. Arguably, I will say quite a few of them driving like they're going to be doing this on 2 stops. But, I mean, looking at the math, Connor, for the one stop, what do you think they're going to be pitting at?
If you want to make the one stop work, you got to pit around 37 or 38. If you can't make it to that point, you're going to have to save too much to make it work. We did see more drivers peel off. Ryan Swan and Greg Mitchell pit, but that's still only about 5 drivers who have committed to a likely 2-stop scenario. And it looks like the 33's leading on that strategy right now, just in front of the 88 by a little bit. So how late these drivers are waiting, I can imagine. It seems like a lot of drivers are going to try to they might only need to save a lap or so to make a one-stop work. And there's no point in doing an extra stop at this track because of how much time you lose doing that extra stop at a track like this. So if you only have to save maybe a little bit, I think the one-stop will work. I just didn't think it would be very likely, but it's looking like it so far.
Yeah, one of the beauties about Pocono is that if you're up front inside the top 10, like if any of these guys pit next time by, depending on if they have a clean stop and they don't overshoot their pit box, they can stay on the lead lap and not risk going a lap down to then having an impromptu caution come out and then they get stuck a lap down like at most tracks. So that is one of the beneficiaries of Pocono as they're rubbing fenders through 1. That's Zach Nichols to the outside of Braxton DeWeese fighting for 6th still.
Hard-fought battle for position here. No one wants to give. And arguably of a phase of the race where they probably should try to save a little bit more of the tires, especially with the leaders so close, and just keep that gap close. But these guys really want to determine who's going to be in 6th, and neither driver wants to give. Fuller, you see right in behind, trying to get the spots he feels that he's lost not too long ago as they head through turn 3.
Here comes a crossover. Zach Nichols not trying to let it go. I feel like if Fuller gets to run, he's going to push the 13 and box that 44 in on the inside. As the one thing to note about the tire difference from the drivers who pit, the drivers who didn't, the leaders are running 56.6s, 56.5s. The 33's fastest lap was a 54.4. He's running 2 seconds faster on this strategy, as once again, Furnace just can't get the inside to work on a 73, as didn't know it was a 73 in second. Philip Groner took the lead away from teammate Jake Nichols.
Yeah, interesting in the midst of the chaos outside the top 5. Meanwhile, the entire top 5, all within a second of each other. Groner taking over the lead from teammate Jake Nichols. Furness close in tow, not close enough to make a move heading into turn 3. Bell kind of waiting in the wings as well as Beckner, but 6 on back, 6th through 9th I should say, they're kind of closing in, about to have a battle of their own as Matthew Bell comes down pit road to make a pit stop.
Interesting to come in lap 30. I feel like I almost want to say that's a little bit too late, but I mean, I guess you never really know, because I'm kind of liking the pace difference. The issue is, I guess, how quickly do the tires fall off for the drivers on newer tires, because here is David Weishart, and like you mentioned, trying to get, let's see, I got the speeds up instead of timing, but Weishart 54.6 last time by, and the leader's running 56.6, and this time by for Weishart 54.9. So it really depends on how fresh the tire is going to last. As you look back up for second place, Furness and Nichols now duking it out.
I feel like if Furness could just get clean air, he could pull away possibly. I think he's faster. He's shown he's faster than both Groner, both Jake Nichols, but he just has not been able to complete this pass. This is just, it's so difficult to make work, and he hasn't been able to do it quite yet. He's not going to get much help because the 11's not going to give the draft of a 28 down the straights, and he'll probably try to give dirty air to a 28 in the corners and make that pass even more difficult.
Yeah, still side by side through turn 1. Exit going to be advantage to Jake Nichols, and Furness going to have to tuck back in line. Thought he was going to have enough to side draft there. Meanwhile, another car making their stop. That is Ryan Hartz in the 54. Zach Carr as well coming out for a scheduled stop.
More and more drivers trickling onto pit lane later on in the run, later than we think they would have to come if they want to make this on one stop. But again, this is what I kind of love when you get these races where a whole bunch of drivers try a whole bunch of different strategies. And really, you won't, obviously, we're not going to find out, or they're going to find out until the end of the race, really, which strategy worked out the best. And obviously, of course, it depends on your own pace if you're able to push the car to its limits. And I think for guys like David Weishart, Brad Slaughter, I think they just might have enough pace to push the car.
Yeah, and Weishart's still in 30th position. That's how few drivers have trickled down the pit lane so far, but he is still the leader on this strategy, waiting for everyone ahead of him to come down for their first set of stops. You just got to hope it cycles out well for him, as this line, the top 8, have really separated from everyone else. Cameron Hearn, he's driven up to 9th through off a strategy, which is great, but it's almost a full long pond straightaway, or at least half of one, to that top 8 line. As you can see there, he comes through the tunnel turn here with a gap over Matt Kemp, who's in a battle for 10th.
Yeah, Matt Kemp in the next group. Nathan Jumpstart to get you off Hunter as you look at the different groups coming through the tunnel turn.
I was about to say, Hearn and Kemp are both on that strategy where they pitted under the first yellow just to get some fuel in the car, extra fuel. Going to be interesting to see when they make their pit stop. They can go a couple laps later than the rest of the guys inside the top 10 because they have yet to make a stop. But there's Jeremy Miller trying to hold on for 13th with a fast-charging Justin Munsell to the inside.
Yeah, Justin Munsell trying to make a move to the inside. Will get on through. So will the number 29, Alex Weaver, in behind.
Oh, they're going to make contact out of the corner. Weaver and Miller, they've been battling for a while, and the 29 has just not been able to complete this, and I think he's getting frustrated now. Couldn't tell if Munsell gave us a wave or not, but these two are still going to go side by side, and it looks like Weaver just drove it in hard to clear the 30, slid up right in front of the nose of Miller. I'm sure Miller won't fully appreciate that as the battle for the lead has subsided. Groner, Nichols, Beckner has actually moved into 3rd. John Furness to 4th. Braxton DeWeese all the way up to 5th.
And Jeff Wright had a massive send to the inside of Jeremy Miller, and Bronson Stafford in the 61 as well, going to try and take a peek, as well as the 38 car of Alexander Bryson, going to try and navigate their way around Miller as they head into turn 1.
Meanwhile, up near the front, battling for 4th position, Furness dropping back as Braxton DeWeese is on the attack, trying to make a move as Travis Beckner is also caught up to the leaders, trying to see if he can make a move for 2nd place. It's all starting to heat up here near the top.
This has been a great drive for DeWeese. This is exactly what he needs as one of the open entries to have a run like this. He's going to get that 4th position away, just as Trey Eidson tried to get Zach Nichols for the 7th position, but Nichols pulled a crossover again in that Raising Cane's Camaro, and he will try to clear up out of 3, but not able to do it.
No, he's not going to do it. Eitzen has the run off the corner. And the top 8 all within a second and a half of each other. Cameron Hearn still about 5 seconds back. Matt Kemp 6.5 seconds as we ride on board the 44 of Zach Nichols. I like to call him the long-lost Nichols brother. Not related to Jake or Tyler Nichols, but still pretty fast up there, just like the 73.
Has been showing some solid pace, has not left the top 10 for most of this race. He started a little bit outside of it ever since he dropped in it. Has been just hovering on the later half of it, has not broken inside the top 5 yet so far, but kept alongside the leaders pretty much in the running, just over a second behind them. Rafe Slade, I see him dropping down the order because he is on pit lane getting service. Another driver to drop on down. One of the earlier drivers gets to come down as we're starting to approach where the window for the one-stop strategies kind of open up. And here comes some more drivers.
Yeah, this is a lot of leaders. DeWeese, Eitzen, those could be trouble. 4 drivers, and they almost ran into each other. One thing we didn't note, but I'll note now, the drivers who came down to top off for fuel under the caution flag, they're going to reap dividends considering how the leaders are likely going to make this one-stop work. The guys who topped off are not really going to have to save much, I would think, to make this one-stop work. So for those drivers especially, this could really be a good strategy.
Yeah, not to mention they can stay out a little bit later, whether that be 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 laps. But on top of that, the tire wear going to be a little bit of a concern for those that are trying to make the one stop now. As for those that pitted earlier, they have a little bit of more freshness to them until they get evened out at some point. But that goes a long way, especially when we have a long green flag run like we do now.
Taking a look at the difference where David Weitzer is, again, the driver leading those who came or planning on doing 2 stops.
Come the leaders.
And the leaders coming in down, so the gap about half a lap as a lot of them, pretty much all of them come on down.
And this is pretty important, whoever gets out first. This is the run to the end for these drivers, so you want to get out first, and 2 teammates side by side. They have to sort out eventually. They both qualified at the front, so one driver's going to lose out. I think it's going to be, well, it's going to be neither because Groner has an earlier stall. So this will work out well for those 2, actually. As some drivers will stay out. Cameron Hearn is one of those. He actually takes the lead for the time being.
Yeah, Hearn, Kemp, Jump, Munsell, and Bourne inside the top 5 now. As you mentioned, Cameron Hearn, one of the ones that pitted under that caution. So he can stay out a few more laps than the rest. As here's the race off pit road, and presumably for the win. It looks like that was Groner in the 11 that got the jump off. Yes. So then Beckner, Nichols, and then I think was that Braxton DeWeese behind.
And of course, with the newer version of Pocono, you're joining right back in the racing line in turn 1. Whoa, a car in the wall. I think that was Fuller trying to get on by.
Yeah, now they're in traffic to drivers who pit a little bit earlier and are probably almost certainly in a 2-stop. So this is going to be a big part of this battle. Who can get through slightly slower traffic? Groner gets to jump while everyone else is going to get stuck behind this battle with Fuller, Nichols, and Eitzen.
Yeah, they blended right in with everyone that pitted just a lap beforehand, and it's going to be tight here through the exit as Zach Nichols thought he was about to go 3 wide middle, but we got 3 wide in front of him.
Try to see who's in there. It's Hillman, Zach Carr, and Garrett Grant, I think, are all fighting for position here.
Our pit lap 31. Heilman pit lap 28. And Garrett Grant came in lap 30. So Carr does have the fresher tires. As Groner not getting away from Eitzen. Look at Beckner. He's making it 3 wide. He's trying to get to the front in behind. I believe Ryan Swan's up at the top of that with Justin Fuller coming through as well.
Side by side through the tunnel turn, and
Beckner hit the apron
back there.
Contact! There they go spinning.
Travis Beckner is around, and the caution will fly and say goodbye to the strategy because everything's changed.
That is probably not what guys like Hearn, Munsell, Jeff Wright wanted to see either, because they've got to still come back down while a lot of these drivers are going to stay out.
Take a look and see what happened. We saw most of it happen live, and I think the 27 slide him in the 55, or the 55 kind of came down a little bit.
Yeah, Justin Fuller kind of, it's like he saw the wall on his outside coming up and tried to swerve off it and right into the side of Travis Beckner. Beckner had a decent hit to the inside wall as well that he'll have to repair.
That's probably going to take him out of the running.
Right on board with Beckner's point of view. He already got way loose on the apron.
Yeah, he tapped the apron, got loose, but there was definitely room for the 55 to get off the corner. He kind of hit an opening in the wall too, so that makes it even worse, as all that strategy is mostly out the window. We will see some of those drivers who just pit that might likely stay out, as we have not gotten to pit road yet. Cameron Hearn just caught the pace car, and it looks like about the top 11 had yet to come down. David Weishart is now 12th, but he pit back on lap 25, and Bell and Slaughter kind of pit around that same time too. So they're the ones that, Hunter, that'll probably have an interesting decision, because they still need to pit one more time. So you would think they would come down, but that track position is oh so tempting.
Very tempting, but with how late they are in their run, they might as well just bring it on down. Going to be interesting seeing what Weishart on back does. The top 11 definitely coming down pit road, but I would expect Weishart, Bell, Slaughter to stick out and to stay with it and stay out. If they do come in, I would expect to see 4 tires for almost everyone, unless you're ready to roll the dice this early in the go. I mean, we're just past halfway, but I think you want to save that for a little bit later in case we do get a late race caution.
Well, let's see what they do. Here they come to pit lane entry. Off they will go. And it looks like majority of the field is going to be coming on down, at least the drivers that we kind of expected to pit. I think for them it's kind of a no-brainer. You don't really want to be caught out and have to come down pit road under green. At least have somewhat of the certainty that you're going to be able to go, have some of the certainty that you can go from here to the end on a tank of gas.
Looked like only a select few of the front runners who had just came down stayed out. Groner, Nichols, Furness, and it looks like Nathan Jump, Jeremy Miller, Matt Kemp, and Bronson Stafford. So it looks like 7 drivers will stay out. And we'll see who gets off pit road first. It looks like it's going to be Braxton DeWeese, and it looked like he only took fuel, possibly.
Alex Weaver, the last of the drivers to stay out, and here comes the trickle of drivers off pit lane. Braxton DeWeese, as you mentioned, leading his pit stop time, 5 seconds. That was definitely fuel for him. 4 tires for Cameron Hearn. Zach Nichols, a splash of gas, and then everyone else in behind getting full service. Jeff Wright, Bell, Hunter, Munsell, Forbes Jr., and Sheen Terrian, next couple drivers off pit lane.
Yeah, so big gains for some of those drivers who stayed out. This is pretty much Groner, Nichols, Furness. Those 3 kind of just making sure they keep their track position. But Jump, Miller, Kemp, Stafford, and Weaver, drivers who were not running really in the top 10 are going to gain big track position out of this. With not too bad of tires. Braxton DeWeese, he gets the freshest tire. Well, he doesn't get the freshest tires, but he's going to be 9th after he literally had just pit. But this will work out well for Cameron Hearn, I would think. He gets fresh tires, and he's definitely good on fuel. And he'll start near the front.
Yeah, so that definitely shakes things up, but that's typically what we expected. Expected to see a few cautions amidst a green flag cycle, and it's not going to be a 40-lap sprint to the end, at least under green flag conditions, but we'll have to see how this restart plays out, as it's really, Finian, the first real shakeup, as the first 8 cars stayed out, everyone else behind pitted at some point. Brad, at the bare minimum, fuel. I was going to say tires, but Braxton DeWeese just did fuel. Zach Nichols, I believe, did fuel as well. Everybody else has 4 fresh tires on, presumably, for this next restart.
Yeah, and just before we get back to the restart, because the race has been so green and entertaining, I haven't had a chance to give a thanks to our other sponsors for tonight. I want to give a shout out to our replay sponsor, Henry County Motorsports Park. Racing returns to Henry County Motorsports Park on September 7th, including 360 Top Gun wing splits, Crusoe late models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under for free. Come and see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off US Highway 27. Visit henryracing.com for more information. Also want to thank Elite Entertainment. Add some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment. Locating in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, music bingo, and more. Visit Linktree /Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. So get ready here. Coming to the green, it's going to be Groner, Nichols, Furness, Jump, Miller, top 5. Not a whole lot of changes there. A lot of the drivers seen near the front, but the drivers on back. Drivers like Cameron Hearn, Jeff Wright, Cedric Hunter, Alex Bell, John Forrest, Munsell, Robertson. Drivers we haven't really seen a whole lot through this race. They're kind of poked their way up near the front of the field. Let's see what they got.
We'll see how aggressive Furness gets. I think he's the faster car right now, but he just hasn't been able to make the passes.
Ace car off. Fielding control to Philip Groner as we get back to green here at Pocono. Field spreading out, rocketing down. I see almost forward wide action heading off into turn 1 near the back of the field. Oh, car sideways. Greg Mitchell to the apron. Does he save it?
Yeah, he did. Got out of the way. Crash!
Zach spin in front of him.
Bryce Senesac. And looks like everyone avoided him.
Well,
caution back out.
That didn't take long either.
Turn 1 strikes again.
And for Bryce Senesac, it looked like decent contact to the wall. Let's take a look at a replay and see what happened to him.
Hendry County Motorsports Park replay. I still need to memorize that. There's the slide from Mitchell. May cause some chaos. Car's going to get on the outside of Senesac. Oh, they're going to split him. Tom Bourne came right up.
Yeah, nowhere to go for Senesac in the 09 or for Zach Carr in the 97 as well.
Right on board with Trey Eitzen. He got a decent look. Well, there's Greg Mitchell. That was another incident going off. So that went on ahead just in front of him. See the 16 Tom Bourne come up into the 09 and whoa, narrowly avoid disaster.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if Tom Bourne knew they were 3 wide. We've seen that a lot this week in all 3 series where that driver on the bottom will come up and they're just not clear.
Running on board with Tom Bourne now. There you see him door-to-door contact with Bryce Senesac and everyone else in behind taking evasive action to avoid it. Caution back out again. And I think this works out for the drivers that stayed out. Granted, there isn't a huge tire difference with the drivers that stayed out. But yeah, the more cycles that the drivers with fresher tires get on, the less of a slight disadvantage the leaders will face. I think, at least.
Yeah, this is, at this point, everything they save is going to help them on a green-white checkered, but that's if they stay out for the rest of this race, and I don't think it's going to be like it was Monday night where you see 30-lap, 40-lap old tires win the race. I think if we get maybe 10, 15 laps green, that's 2 seconds of fall off right there, so that would almost certainly force the hand of most of the leaders to at least take 2 tires or 4 tires. You still might see drivers way at the back stay out, take track position, and hope for what happened Tuesday night to happen again, but those tires were so much. I don't think you can rely on that.
Now, as we've crossed the threshold with 30 laps to go in the race now, so this is going to help those that stayed out, at least for the time being, saving fuel under caution. If this does go green to the end, which it has a good chance of. But Philip Groner, Jake Nichols still running 1-2 up front.
Yeah, with that, I'll take a chance to go just to a quick break, take a little bit of a rest while the drivers catch a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back for the restart. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back here to Pocono. The field is just about ready to get underway here as we get another restart here. We'll have just under 30 laps to go. Things are starting to head up, guys, as we got Groner, Nichols, and Furnace, pretty much the same top three that we had, and same top few positions. Not a whole lot of exchanging going on. It's come down for the restart.
It looks like Groner's going to be content with taking the bottom. I thought they might maybe take the top, have Nichols on the bottom, and maybe box the 28 in, but seems pretty content with having the 1-2 in this order.
Pace car going to make another sharp left turn onto pit lane. Field back in control of Philip Groner, and we'll head back green here at Pocono with a great start for the number 11. And there goes the 30 of Jeremy Miller, immediately making moves to the inside.
Well, he got the jump there, and he's going to take Furnace only 2 wide, as looked like Jake Nichols cleared both of them, so this will be the battle for third. Miller will be on the bottom at a disadvantage, sliding up the racetrack with no contact made. As it seems like mostly everyone is through turn 1 this time, and Furnace gets back to third.
Yeah, Nathan jumped there to the outside now. Jeremy Miller has a head in the tunnel turn, and Matt Kemp also in the middle of that. Alex Weaver, some of the guys making their way inside the top 10 late in the going, and everyone gets through the tunnel turn unscathed. Here comes Kemp to the inside of Jump in turn 3.
And Kemp making some moves in that Taco Bell machine. He's at a slow climb forward, but it's been a drastic climb forward. Started all the way back in 39th, is now here just outside the top 5. If he can get past Nathan Jump, he'll be finally inside the top 5. And doing pretty well as the performance. There's side by side now with Alex Weaver. Weaver putting pressure. He's going to try to go to the outside and Jump, make it 3 wide off of turn 1.
They made contact. Kemp and Jump did. They saved it. Weaver looked middle for a moment, gets back in line, as DeWeese is also in that battle. Zach Nichols in behind as well. I don't know if he has fresh tires or not, but he's back there. Cameron Hearn is up to 11th. Does have fresh tires, but for the most part, the drivers who stayed out are looking all right.
Connor Okresic with the send to the inside, and 3 wide just in front of him. Actually, it was just 2 wide. Matthew Bell to the inside of Jeff Wright, trying to take that position away as Okresic slowly creeps closer towards the top 15, as St. Tyrion currently holds the 14th spot, but actually, no, it was the 15th spot. 16th spot up for grabs, though, as they continue to fan out down the front stretch.
A lot of battling going on. Everyone up close together again with fresh rubber, so a lot of drivers taking advantage of the situation as Kemp just trying to secure that top 5 spot. Jump still fighting hard on the outside. A couple guys getting loose. Jeff Wright, I think, tagged the wall off of turn 1.
He has a little bit of damage at every corner of the car, specifically front end damage is what I saw. Miller had a moment out of 1, kind of struggling with the nose, and he really struggled with the entry to 3. Is going to check up this battle for 4th, although looked like Kemp couldn't get there, but he did clear Nathan Jump for 5th, so he's next in line to try to get by the 30. 6 is loose, but he looked like he gathered it up. Don't know if he got a boot or not, but a lot of drivers have been getting booted in turn 3 on entry.
Now, almost a bit of a Checo effect there coming down the short chute into turn 3, but Munsel's starting to enter inside the top 10, starting to throw his name into the mix of this as contact is made. That was Zach Nichols on the outside that almost was bad heading into turn 1.
I was looking at different contact. Forbes and Ed Robertson were dooring each other down the main straight. They're looking 4 wide in the background out of turn number 3. Jeff Wright got doored. He saved it.
Well, you didn't miss that because he just popped up on the bottom of the picture, and you didn't want to get too low.
Miller and Matt Kemp made contact entering the tunnel turn, but they saved it, so no problem there. This is what I was looking at.
This is 4 wide action. You cannot fit all these cars off of the turn because everyone comes up across the track, and then you saw Jeff Wright getting a little bit squirrely here. A lot of action going on here as everyone's dogfighting for position. Meanwhile, the leaders are kind of checked out. Philip Groner, Jake Nichols, they're entering their own zip code from the rest of the field. One of the biggest gaps we've seen all race long between the leaders. John Furnace trailing them in 3rd place. Jeremy Miller 4th, holding off a bunch of angry cars in behind him as now Matt Kemp starting to get hungry for 4th place.
Yeah, Kemp and him had contact in 2 and 3, but Miller was able to hold strong in 4th, and now Nathan Jump's going to get back by DeWeese at the wall. So did the 29 of Weaver.
Yeah, Weaver got the worst end of that.
It is sacking up behind the 30 a little bit. That's kind of a product of that, and we're still waiting for Hearn to come through the field. Fresh tires up to 8th.
Ooh, got tight through the tunnel turn there, but the 4 of Hearn you do see making his way through the field. Got fresher tires than those that stayed out, starting to incorporate himself in the mix of this. Meanwhile, Munsell trying to hold on to that 9th spot. Braxton DeWeese trying to get a run on corner exit. He will. Don't know if he'll have the run down the straightaway as Bronson Stafford looks to the inside.
Right on the back of Justin Munsell with him still side by side with Braxton DeWeese to his outside, and there is Bronson Stafford in behind. See, 13 might have to back off here, and I think Munsell will just get clear. As DeWeese hits the wall off of turn 1.
He's been flirting with that wall a few times. I think he lifted there, but he didn't really hit it too hard, so won't hurt him too much, but it will lose him a spot to Bronson Stafford probably, as he got some teammates on the inside. Here comes another slider. Stafford sliding to 13. Not giving him a lot of respect, but either way, the 61 made it work. Looks like Zach Nichols, Cameron Hearn will go side by side for 7th up ahead of that.
This is all on the outskirts of the top 10, being held by Bronson Stafford. 11th up for grabs, steering into the inside of Braxton DeWeese. Been inside the top 10 at some point throughout the day, DeWeese has, but he's been slipping because he's been hitting the wall over the last couple of laps, and more cars starting to fan out, but Groner and Nichols still checking out through turn 1.
Yeah, I wanted to mention Shane Terry. Never really talked a lot about him all night long, and quietly has moved that 9 car just outside the top 10. Now he's going to start to poke some holes there as he works his way forward. Matthew Bell, there's the 43 car, who is not up in the lead, or near the lead, not too long ago, trying to work his way back up there. Is fighting side by side with Conor Crescent.
Spinning car turn. Tom Bourne.
Tom Bourne around in the middle of turn 2. Travis Beckner involved as well. A couple more cars still making contact.
Gosh.
64 Robertson damaged as well. Caution out again.
Gosh, that wreck lasted long. Ed Robertson got shoved into it late. First car, this is a huge one. Anna Sogak got big damage. This will make tire strategy interesting here as well.
A big checkup in behind the 15, it seems. Everyone getting punched. The 55 was around, the 8 was around.
And a Sogak.
Yeah, hard contact there. Bryce Senizak involved again. Greg Mitchell getting contact as well as a big traffic jam formed out the exit of turn 2.
Yeah, that was weird. I think Alex Bell was getting in line, letting teammate Jeff Wright by. It caused this huge stack up where Slaughter just had no time to lift for the 55. And I think Greg Mitchell sent Ed Robertson into that. Very tough to check up in the tunnel turn sometimes. And Sogak just ran out of room.
I want to see what happened to Ed Robertson as well. Came kind of near the end of that. And he was trying to get slow down. And he got hit from behind and punted at speed. That's what caused him to get more involved.
Yeah, it's just nothing he could do. He was looking. You see how far behind he was from the initial incident too.
It's Travis Beckner. He just got loose trying to slow down, caught involved.
And he took a big hit. Tom Bourne, another one he's in. Shane Abbey just squeaking by. As pit road will open this time. And with 20 laps to go, this makes things very interesting, Hunter, because if you pit here, you might be done for the rest of the race.
I think if these guys are already committed up front, they might as well just stay out.
Looks like they're thinking of it.
No, one stays out. Is that Jeremy Miller?
Yeah. I don't think anyone else is going to follow his lead, so that's a bold strategy I don't quite think is going to work out in his favor.
Look for guys to take 2 tires. This would be the perfect time to experiment 2 tires late in the going.
I would not be surprised to see Groner and Nichols take 2 to cover that. You're certainly not pitting for fuel.
No, and I think that's the thing is that you only really need tires. Arguably, your left side tires are probably okay. And the track position is going to be key as well. You can gain a lot. I see a lot of jacks jumping up on the left side, so it looks like majority of the field is going to be taking 4. Off and away they go. Big race off of pit road. I tell you what, really? One driver who we haven't seen in a very long time, David Weishart, he took 2.
And he needed that. I'm surprised more people didn't at the front, but the leaders get away with 4. But Weishart, he needed track position. This is how he's going to get it. Not surprised by that call. And maybe Trey Eitzen took 2. I don't know if he was up there as well. But there weren't many takers for 2, and even less takers for none.
Yeah, everyone was 4 basically, besides these two. So everyone's feeling the tires are worth it.
Jeremy
And then you
Miller's
got Jeremy
gonna-
Miller.
Good luck, Jeremy Miller. Oh boy, I think he certainly thought more people would take track position, especially how the week's gone. But
Yeah, I think with this with so many laps left to go, I think and it was interesting, like you were saying, it's just at that cutoff point where you're going to want to think, is it worth the potential hidden track position for the tires? Miller thought it wasn't worth it, so he stayed out, hoping. Of course, you hope that more people go on the strategy, but no one stayed out behind him.
He was struggling to stay fourth initially, but after he kind of got clear of Kemp and Nathan Jump, he actually pulled away and got closer to John Furness and battled for third. So I was a little surprised by that. I thought he'd take 2, but definitely a lonely island as he will lead some laps. I believe it's probably 2 races in a row he's led. I'm almost certain he led at Daytona. He'll lead some laps at Pocono, and he'll try to hold on for dear life. The good news for him is he'll have teammates to restart with Groner and Nichols second and third. So I doubt they'll do much protection for him. They'll probably try to get by him, but this could still work out for the 11 and 73. And it's a big restart for Furness to maybe try to take advantage of this.
Yeah, I was going to say, between the 3 of Groner, Jeremy Miller, and Jake Nichols, they led 61 laps at Daytona, which is about 2/3 of the race. Each of them led double-digit figures. I think Jeremy Miller led 12 or 18. You could flip either one around between the 2 of Groner and Jeremy Miller, but nonetheless, they've had speed all season long. And granted, we're only 2 races in, but Groner and Nichols have been inside the top 2 for, I think, the majority of the race. And then Jeremy Miller here late in the going. Old strategy of staying out. Could it pay off in the end? Still have 19 to go. 18 when they come across the stripe.
Yeah, 19 now, coming to 18 to go. Majority of the field still running the race. 40 cars running of the 42 that took the green flag. And of which 38 still on the lead lap. See Braxton Weiss and a couple cars getting warmed up there.
Yeah, only 1 driver, I believe, out of the race, maybe 2. Ed Robertson might be out. Blaze McKinney blew his engine early. He's out. A lot more drivers damaged than there were before, but attrition rate's still low for the time being. But at least a few mixed strategies, but this is almost certainly the final run of the race. Whether you stayed out or took 2 or took 4, you're probably done on pit road.
We'll see. Do we make it on green from here to the end? Definitely possibility here. Jeremy Miller leading them down. No tires, old tires for him, fresh tires for everyone else in behind. We're back green here at Pocono, and look at the 83 of Nathan Jump immediately jumping out of line. This is going to be a spicy run down into turn 1.
Trying to get by 2 tires already, but it's going to be a tight squeeze. Furness is going to get sent up the track in all this, while Groner and Nichols trying to fight for who gets by Jeremy Miller first. Furness in the wall.
Big wreck in the back. Huge wreck as they're spinning across the racetrack. Caution's going to come out. They're still piling in.
Bronson Stedford, R.J. Williams, Altef Ford, Bryce Senesac, Tom Bourne, and I believe Cedric Hunter was the first one to go around.
Looking at Bryce Senesac here trying to get
that is the
going.
best. I'll say that for Jeremy Miller. That's the best. He wants this to go yellow.
Oh, yeah. He wants nothing but pacing for the next 15, 20 minutes if he can have his way.
Casey Kane does not approve of that in the background.
No, I can't imagine he does.
That's a new cutout. That's a new cutout for him as well. Thought it'd bring him good luck, but it's just been the opposite today for him.
Casey Kane had a crash like that here. See what happened here. Krezek and the Cedric Hunter.
Yeah, Krezek, Cedric Hunter, and then big hit to the 50, and then everyone else piling in there.
R.J. Williams got piled through into that. He almost wrecked right there. Look at that, 4 wide. It's just, it's not like we've really seen. Oh, Krezek was pretty low on the track. He did not, I don't think he had much room to really maneuver. 70 kind of pinching a little bit. Another bumper flying in. But a lot of drivers have nowhere to go. It's what we've seen all week, Hunter. If there's a wreck out of turn 1, it's blocked. You're done.
Yeah, they fan out so much through the turn because it's wide enough, and then this is the result that you get. Guys are trying to push as hard as they can. It gets tight on corner exit. And especially this lane of the going, no one's going to give room. They're trying to get every spot that they can, and this is the result.
Right, Senizak's on board. We looked at Casey Cottis. And Senizak got hit from behind. Not sure who got into him.
Yeah. Whoever shoved R.J. Williams into that is what shoved Bryce Senizak into that, I believe.
Oh, no, yeah, it was 21, and he got hit by, I think, Zach Carr.
Couldn't tell if I thought it was the 29 and someone, or maybe the 16, maybe it was Zachary Carr. Could not quite tell. But this is kind of what happens when everyone fans out like this. You could look at Slaughter going, well, he made that 4-wide move, but that's not even what caused the crash. It might have caused he was trying to get on the outside of Stafford. That would have been tough. But, oh yeah, that was kind of Zachary Carr piling everyone in there. And that's Beckner following through. Yeah, those ARCA brakes, they get penalized as well on the new caution point system, so I'm sure that'll be looked at as well. As Zachary Carr gets involved in that crash, his 3 teammates enjoy a 1-2-3 run for now.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is an ideal situation. Have at least 3 of the 4 cars in the stable up near the front running well. As the laps slowly tick on down, Justin Sogek there works his modified around the track to get a wave around. He'll go back in the lead lap.
Top speed of probably 160. He's just going to try to recover for what he can. As that'll put him on the lead lap, actually. And Ed Robertson, R.J. Williams, who are out of the race. Oh, boy, that won't help.
A little bit more damage to the right side of that car.
Yeah, that thing ain't turning very well. I
wonder why.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine why. It looks ready to race. It's in pristine condition. But yeah, this is exactly... No one really... I don't think even Jeremy Miller really wants to see this turn into a wreck fest. But at the same time... yeah, but it's probably what he needs. He did fire off of turn 1 very well, but he had Nichols and Groner gaining on him into a tunnel turn. And that's where the tires older tires will really show, and you'll really see him struggle. So as long as we get to turn 2, that's where you'll see him probably struggle in one of those two. Whoever gets clear for second first will be the ones to try to take advantage of it.
Yeah, the thing is, I think you were talking about it before with the teammates. There's only so much they can really do to defend him because everyone's going to have a much bigger pace advantage here as you get the one to green. So you can't really do a whole lot of defending. They also got to keep their own interest in mind as well. And like you mentioned, I think by the time they get down to turn 2, they're going to be looking to get around him and get around him quickly. And, of course, you got guys in behind. David Weiser up to 4th place. We haven't seen his 33 car up here since he really went off on his own pit strategy, and he's been trying to recover. He's up there on 2 tires. Will he have enough tire to get around the leaders? Of course, he should be able to get around Miller, but will the 2-tire call, will that come to bite him in the end and hurt his chances of getting a win?
It looks like he'll restart in the 5th position here like he did the last restart, and we were 3 wide for 3rd. I think it was Nathan Jump who took it 3 wide that time, but he'll restart in the 6th position this time. It would have to be Matt Kemp being the aggressor. Clearly both those drivers think 2 tires are not going to work to the point where they want to get by him immediately and get him in the sucker hole, but it did not work, didn't go green long enough to make that happen. So I can't imagine 33 is going to be hanging on, but he still has 4 tires lined up behind him. So Weishart's got to focus on getting a good restart so he can't get split in the middle. And it would also be better for Furness if he could get going on a restart because he got put 3 wide top and lost a lot of time to the top 3 because of that.
All right, real quick.
One thing I'm starting to wonder, if they keep wrecking like this on the restarts, they might not have enough time to get them there. And I know we have overtime finishes, 3 allowed attempts, but even then, that's still a lap for these guys to get up to speed, and this could be a major concern, Finian.
Definitely could be a major concern here. Just really want to quick shout out the High Banks podcast. These 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talked about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter. New episode with Jacob Bell coming soon and available on Spotify. We're ready to go back green. Here comes Jeremy Miller trying to get away as fast as he can from the rest of the field, charging him on the fresher rubber. 3 wide in the background, the 51 again, and Matt Kemp going to take it 3 wide.
Yeah, Weishart got an even worse restart there. Furness got going. He's all over the 11 of Groner, but here comes Jake Nichols. He's going to clear for second out of turn number 1, and he's going to have a run on Miller into the tunnel turn, and we're still 3 wide. Big block.
Oh, huge block, but that's not going to be enough. Furness going to get to the inside. Here comes Jake Nichols to the inside of Jeremy Miller for the lead, heading in the tunnel turn.
There he goes, dive to the inside to 30. I don't think he's got anything he can really respond with as far as tires are concerned. Here comes Nichols now into turn 3, where you really need to lean on the tires for that grip with the flat corner and a long corner at that. There goes Jake Nichols on by. He will secure the lead back from his teammate Jeremy Miller. John Furness now going to be charging through up to second as they're still 3 wide in behind.
And Groner was the big loser on that restart. He's going to go back to 4th as they're side-by-side for second. They almost go 3 wide. Eidson shut the door on Connor Okrezik in the midfield as here comes the 28 of Furness. This will be the highest up he's been once he clears the 30 of Miller. Jeremy Miller tried to drive it into turn 1 to keep it on the right rear. Couldn't do it.
For the most part, he did, and Furness just now shuts the door behind him, though. Zach Nichols shuts the door on Nathan Jump as he's trying to get a massive shove down the backstretch. Jump's going to go to the inside. Hearn in pursuit. It's going to be tight for 10th on deck.
Really tight back here. Ooh, almost a couple cars in the wall. But they keep it clean for now. Phil Groner to the inside of Jeremy Miller now, trying to see if he can get clear for 3rd place. And for Miller, I think it's going to be a slow but frustrating crawl back. Not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. I actually thought his drop was going to be much more drastic than this. A big block for David Weishart on the 44, trying to keep Zach Nichols at bay. And here we go, 3 wide with the 30 off into turn 1.
I believe that was probably...
Weishart, contact with the 30, Miller, hard contact.
Upside.
What a massive wreck.
Back in the traffic, not quite.
That's as bad of a wreck at Pocono as I've seen this week.
Oh, and hit him again.
He's still getting hit. Unbelievable wreck for David Weishart.
After running so well, it's all going to end in the catch fence in turn 1. So we saw this maneuver here, him trying to defend from the 44. And off they go, middle 3 wide, and let's see what happened here.
Yeah,
Weishart just slid up into the 30. That's all it was.
Yeah, he could have pinched harder. Maybe figured the driver on the inside was going to slide up in Nichols and gave him a lot of room. I don't think Jeremy was ready for him to give that much room, and nothing either driver could do, but pretty fortunate no one else was involved in this, seemingly. I mean, Jeremy just kind of gets shoved up the track, and he's done from there.
Look at that 33 just bounce throughout the turn.
Yeah, I think the hit afterwards was probably Miller showing frustration.
I mean, at that point, is one more hit going to really do a whole lot?
Yeah, Weishart just kind of didn't really make the corner as well as he probably could have. I think Miller, yeah, as Ryan Nowitzki tells us, David Weishart will probably airlift to the nearest virtual hospital.
Yeah, I would hope so. I wanted to get a little slow-mo going here.
Haven't seen a flip in turn 1 since like 20 years ago. Ken Schrader.
His ended in a fireball. Weishart is going to end in a trip to the ER.
There's the hook into the wall, and
30 just launches him into the fence past the tricky Fox billboard. And I know they're out of the groove, but it's still amazing no one else got in that.
It really is, because I thought he was going to come flying down, at least either him or Jeremy Miller, and was able to keep out of it as that car goes tumbling over and over and over again. And it comes down to rest, and that car destroyed and back in the virtual hauler down on pit lane as we head back live. Jake Nichols leads the field across the start-finish line. John Furness, Phil Groner, Zach Nichols, and Cameron Hearn.
Hearn was so close to winning on Tuesday. Might have just needed one more green flag lap to get by Connor Yeroshak. But once again, he's going to be in position to maybe have a shot at this, restarting in the 5th position. It's still probably going to be tough to get by those 609 Motorsports teammates. Groner is back to 3rd, Furness in 2nd, you'll almost certainly see these two time it, maybe try to get Groner back to the runner-up position because Furness has been their biggest threat all race long, and I still think he's a touch faster than the 11, maybe not the 73. It seemed like Jake Nichols has been firing off much better than he was on the first long run of the race, but I still think he's going to have to deal with Furness a little bit here, if not the 4 of Hearn, and can't count out Zach Nichols either.
Well, Cameron Hearn slowly creeping into the top 5. He's just now entered it. He was leading at one point throughout the cycle of pit stops, but with the advantage on tires to his end, he could have a good shot at keeping that top 5 finish, or he could go all out and try and get the win. Going to be interesting seeing what Nathan Jump does. He looked like he had a pretty good car, but kept getting into sticky situations, whether that be inside the tunnel turn or getting blocked down the front stretch. Don't be surprised if Nathan Jump gets up there and makes this an interesting fight for the win.
Yeah, both of them looking pretty quick. Justin Munsell just in behind him in the number 6 cars also has some decent speed. Maybe not race-winning speed, but I think enough to perform in this 51 of Matt Kemp has been lurking in the top 10 all night long. Just hasn't been able to really get to the front end of the field. And then right behind him, cannot really mention Braxton Deweese, who's been putting that 13 Ford Mustang up near the front where it counts, where it matters. He's been a little bit out of these recent battles, for better or for worse. That car is still going. And we'll see if he's going to be able to execute. Before we go back green, I want to thank Rick's Hot Sauce. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize for the Rookie of the Year, highest finishing rookie in the point standings.
And there's a lot more good rookies this season.
Oh,
too.
yeah. I was going to say, last season, not as much. Pretty much we were able to hand Jake Matheson that award after a couple weeks in. Very, very strong, dominant car. This season, though, looking a lot more of a toss-up. Many strong rookies, as you mentioned, Connor. A lot of drivers with a lot of experience. I mean, it's ironic calling people rookies when the minimum iRating to race in that series is 3,000, which is a pretty high ceiling, or sorry, pretty high floor for drivers to enter in.
Yeah, and it's just that the level of talent is just getting higher and higher every season. And so far, through 5 full seasons and starting this 6th season, it's definitely seeming like this is the peak, no doubt, as we'll get the restart. We'll cross 8 laps to go. Talent in all 3 series, by the way, not just Cup. You've seen how stacked this field is with Nichols, Furness, Groner, Zach Nichols in 4th, and Cameron Hearn 5th. Plenty talented drivers. But any one of them can still win it. We'll see how these teammates on the bottom row make it work to try to force Furness out.
Well, looking at my average list here from Pocono, average 2 cautions for 8 laps, this is definitely going to get an upgrade. Not to mention, we haven't had a race like this ever at Pocono where it's just caution after caution at the very end.
Let's see, it plays out. 9 laps, coming to 8 laps to go. Nichols leading them down. We are back green again here at the tricky triangle, off and away. Will Nichols go, tagging in behind Philip Groner? A decent restart for both of them, and just ahead of John Furness. And Furness in a big dive to the inside.
That's exactly what they wanted. They wanted Groner to get to the outside and take this 2nd position away. They're going to make contact. Furness not trying to let him go. He put Philip Groner in the wall. Groner's going to chase him down the track in retaliation as Jake Nichols tries to break the draft.
Here comes Zach Nichols in 4th, catching this pursuit between the 11 and the 28. Going to be tight in the tunnel turn. Nathan jumped to the inside of Hearn. We're going to have to check up behind. But Zach Nichols in a good spot. Here he comes. No, he's going to give a shove to Furness into 3.
Watch this slide job. Furness just going to shove it in there and slam the brakes to avoid a crossover, but he couldn't do it. Groner's back to his inside. It's exactly what Jake Nichols wants.
Back in behind them, 3 wide for position. There's the 6 of Justin Munsell. He's got Nathan Jump and Matt Kemps to his outside, and it's even more 3 wide action in behind them heading off into turn 1.
Groner dove to the bottom. Furness trying to line up maybe another crossover, but Groner did not really shove it into 1, but the 28's still going to get a big run. They're side by side for 4th now. Here comes Cameron Hearn with another run on the inside of the 44. Furness popped out a line to the inside of Groner. Groner's going to block it late, swerved in front of him, threw the 28 off, and they're dooring for 4th. They're through the corner for now. Is getting testy in the top 5.
Yeah, all elbows out here for Groner, Furness, Nichols, Cameron Hearn. They're still side by side for fourth. Furness, not sure if he's going to be able to get around Groner cleanly. Might have to get into him again. Meanwhile, Matt Kemp is closing in on the top 5 as he's catching the draft of the 44.
He's ready to go places here. They're starting to battle up ahead of him here. 6 laps to go. They off into turn 1 once more. Cameron Hearn going to try to make a move, and Kemp going to try to look around the outside. Canes versus Taco Bell. Pick one to win, at least in this exchange. Both of them going to try to go to the outside of Cameron Hearn.
Almost a little contact there. This is just like we've seen all week long. If you don't make that pass on the inside, you're subject to going backwards. Another kind of semi-block there from the 44. He drove it in deep into a tunnel turn to get away from the front bumper of the 4, and he slams the wall because of it, and Hearn right into the back of him with huge damage to both those cars.
Oh, that's unfortunate for Cameron Hearn. He was having such a good day inside the top 5. Could still pull out a top 10, but the damage going to make it more difficult for him as Kemp now enters the top 5.
He's going to try to run.
Hearn's just going to let people by here.
Yeah, I think he knows that car is damaged and wounded.
I think if you look at the hood's flapping.
Try to take a look and see what happened to him. Oof. See right there, and I'm not sure the 44 is trying to block or get out of the way.
I think he's just trying to swerve off the wall, really, not really paying attention to the 4. That's just one of those incidents that happens. As he kind of got away with it, he's able to continue in 4th. Cameron Hearn's not going to get the finish he deserves because of that incident, though, as we'll come across the line next time by. 4 laps to go as Justin Fuller hit the wall, but the top 5 or 6 kind of separated from the rest of the field because of that. Nichols with a good lead over teammate Philip Groner, who has pulled away from John Furness after their battle.
I know Krezek in the back. You see clear Nathan Jump for the 9th position. Jump falls down to 10th, and Jake Nichols giving the Pocono fans a good show as he's right in the back.
Cameron Hearn involved in this, and Zakar. What on earth happened here? This is way down the straightaway.
That was, I reckon, in a straight line. Oh man, 8 and 50. Oh, that was Bryson.
Yeah. Wow, Jeff Wright nearly avoided that.
Cameron Hearn is an innocent bystander in all this, and he goes from running in the top 5 to running back in 35th.
Well, things got stacked up because of the 8 and 50.
Trying to find
Not quite sure.
There we go. There's Bryson.
Bryson sees a gap, goes for it, and it just wasn't there. The 97 was inside. And gets the 4 in the process.
And with Garrett Grant there, you can see right there, is trying to make a move, and not enough of a car length to make it work. And who is it that we saw?
Casey Lacotte, Brad Slaughter. It seemed like they had a little door banging match of their own. Out of 4, or 3. There is no turn 4. Excuse me. The 8 and the 50. That's what causes the stack up, and that's what causes this. Or maybe it's not the 50. That might be Rafe Slate in the 98. Excuse me.
Rafe Slate.
Yes,
Was it?
my apology. 98. It was somewhere in turn 3 where they had contact and stacked things up before this incident.
There we go.
Right here. Ooh, Hearn was involved in that maybe a little as well. Maybe 4 into the 98 into the 8. But that's what causes all this to happen, which causes Bryson to go for a gap that's not really there.
And a whole bunch of cars junked out of that situation. I'm trying to see where is... I'm trying to find Cameron. There he is. I'm just trying to find him on my timing and scoring. I'll take one last look from up above.
See if he did get in the Rafe Slate here, because he was getting freight trained. Slate makes a dive. Yeah, he kind of
pushed him into the 8.
I'm sure the 8's probably mad at the 98 when Cameron Hearn did his best Kevin Harvick impression and kind of pushed him into that fight. Texas 2014, anyone.
And Zach Carr just innocently involved in this, and whoa, Bryson is coming through to the end, just snaking on through. But
yeah,
That'll bring us under caution once more, and will officially push us over into overtime.
All 3 races. It's probably the first time in a while all 3 races in a week have gone overtime.
And of course, the new change for this season, we will no longer just have 1 attempt. We will go up to 3 times to get this race to finish under green. After which, then we'll finish this under yellow. So we'll see for attempt number 1 here. Should be getting 1 to go next time by. And just when Jake Nichols thought it was all wrapped up and ready to go, he once again has to defend for the win.
Yeah, this will be a little different because now Philip Groner will be in the 2nd position, and they'll still almost certainly time it out once again, but it's going to be probably a little bit different. I think Jake will still tell him when to go, but he might go a little earlier just to get the 11 off his back. Because I think he's never going to get fully away from these 2. I still think they're very even on pace, although 73 has the advantage. But it only takes 1 good restart from either Furness or Groner to maybe loosen them up in turn 1 and get them side by side for the lead. So you kind of want to work with your teammate a little bit just to get the 28 off your back, but it's go time at this point, so you can't really give them all the breaks in the world nowadays.
It's all about how the initial jump goes on the restart for everyone else, because Jake Nichols, he's in a good position where he can go anywhere inside that box. Philip Groner, that's a teammate to his outside, presuming that he takes the inside lane. Regardless, he'll be alongside him on this restart. John Furness and Zach Nichols. I joke that Zach Nichols is a long-lost Nichols brother, but he might actually be, because he's just as fast as Jake and as Tyler, has a good shot at possibly pulling off an upset victory here.
Does have a chance if things play out. 1 more lap to go till we get back under green. 2 laps to the finish. Going to be just about 2 laps over our scheduled distance. Matt Kemp in 5th. Justin Munsel's lineup in 6th. Braxton DeWeese in 7th. Justin Fuller 8th. Connor Kresick 9th.
Delayed.
And Nathan Jump in 10th. And as you mentioned, the restart delayed.
Oh, Tom Bourne spun out of turn 1.
Oh, that's why. That's one
It's
way
been
to delay a green.
It's been a rough day for him.
Kind of curious how this happened. Oh, it's back end around. Did he get damaged? I think he might have got just damaged tires, I guess.
Damaged pride, possibly.
And that as well, yep. Tom Bourne will get underway. We'll delay the green by 1 lap. Not really going to change anything. Still got 2 laps to go.
And just a lot more time to think for these drivers in row 2.
And actually, it also gives me a chance to go through our final sponsor for tonight. I just had the ad read up. And I lost it. The Area iRacing shop. Race fans, visit shop.areairacing.com for the highest quality merchandise at low prices. Shop for over 100 selections of t-shirts, hats, champion brand clothing, and more. Area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com. Field works out of turn 3. This time by it'll be 1 to green, pending no one else spins out on the pace lap. And I guess we'll take a chance to see how our picks are doing. Mine is 2nd.
Third.
Well, mine has been involved in plenty of shenanigans.
Who'd you pick again? Remind me.
Travis Beckner. I'm trying to look for him on the leaderboard.
He's not had the best of days. Travis Beckner.
33rd.
Well, made good picks. Beckner has just been the one that got unlucky with the crash and the 2 crashes in the tunnel turn.
Tell you what, he's having a blast. He's got a big smile on his face. Look at him laughing. So he's enjoying himself.
So much happens at some point, you just gotta laugh about it. I mean, he's had so much. He's had nothing in his control today, really. I mean, they got taken out at a tunnel turn once, got him involved in the big pileup out of the tunnel turn, and he's just not been able to repair everything because of it. It's just one of those races for him. He'll be back to the front next week in Charlotte, no doubt.
And we'll see how it plays out. And actually, speaking of which, coming up, I think all 3 series are going to be heading to Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
So a more traditional mile and a half for these drivers is what's in the future. A little bit more return to the norm before we finish out the tricky triangle, and I'm sure there are quite a few drivers that are going to be happy we're leaving Pocono.
I can almost certainly agree with that sentiment. From a driver's standpoint, I should say.
You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, I mean, I like driving it, but it's just been, it was a rough week for us on the Cup side, but I'm still interested to see at least if they work together. They don't have to work together here. Jake Nichols does not have to work with Philip Groner here. I'm interested to see if he does, though.
See what they will do, see what they will choose. Pace car off again, potentially for the final time tonight. That'll be Jake Nichols leading him down. Back green at Pocono. 2 laps to go with a green-white checkered, and Nichols will go ahead of the 11. They'll look pretty planned and orderly in behind them. Slightly more chaotic as they're almost 3 wide in behind. I see the 78 making a move. John Forbes Jr., I haven't mentioned him a whole lot. He's making a 3-wide move to the inside and 3 wide for second.
Zach Nichols to the outside. Groner shut the door on him at the last second, and that could have been a huge crash, but it's going to give Groner a run on Nichols into the tunnel turn, as that is not what John Furness needed.
Teammates running 1-2, heading into the tunnel turn. Side-by-side fight for third. Furness trying to stick his nose in, couldn't get below Groner. And it's just Jake Nichols with Philip Groner in pursuit, heading into the third turn, heading to the white flag.
Yeah, all I have to do is make sure they make it there in one piece, no racks, no shenanigans, and they'll be finishing this out. And it looks like the rest of the field's on through. White flag in the air for Jake Nichols as he stakes down the front straightaway.
Groner can still get there. He's trying to break the draft. Make sure Philip Groner cannot get to his bumper in any of these corners. It's pretty much between these two at this point.
Pulling through turn 1 for the final time, Jake Nichols, 2 car lengths of an advantage over teammate Philip Groner. Side-by-side fight for 4th in the back. Justin Munsel's cracked the top 5 at the bell lap. And here they go, heading into the tunnel turn for the final time. Nichols trying to break the draft with Groner.
Yeah, Nichols trying to break the draft with Groner up ahead. His teammate defending as we look at Justin Munsell duking it out with Matt Kemp and Zach Nichols. Ooh, some cars in the wall, but up near the front. Jake Nichols, one more turn between him and victory and trying to hold off his teammate with a late race charge. John Furness also trying to jump up there, but it's not going to be enough for any of them to make a move. Out of turn 3, Jake Nichols will see the checkered flag first, and he will win here at Pocono.
Oh, spin in the back.
Huge crash in turn 3. Zachary Carr and Trey Eitzen.
Zachary Carr, more damage to him after what's already a rough night. We'll take a look and see what happened in just a second as Jake Nichols will be the first to take checkered flag and win for the number 73 and the second for 609 Motorsports this season.
2 straight 1-2 finishes for the same team. That is how you get the team points lead started early. That is huge for that end of the championship as Zachary Carr finishes.
Let's see what happened. Well, it started.
It starts with the 22. Guess Carr maybe comes on late. This is around 22nd position.
And it was Shane Abbey he made contact with, and the 99. They're all fighting for the same piece of real estate. 22 comes to track it. Oh, Zach Carr just caught him up there at the end. And just a bad night gone worse for him. And oh man, Travis Beckner.
Talk about a bad night gone worse. Travis Beckner just trying to finish the race.
Gotta hold the brakes there if you're Trey Eitzen. I know it didn't matter. They were all at the back, but still. Gotta hold the brakes there as the second driver for 609 Motorsports to lock into the playoffs as a beaten and battered Jeremy Miller gives Jake Nichols congratulations, his 3rd career Area Pro Series victory.
And here comes Jake Nichols lighting it up on the start finish line. Ooh, almost hit the wall. Yeah, there you go. Now, we're going to say it's planned. He's had a lot of practice, so. There you go.
Sure, he's happy we ended that one under green too, but Groner had a little bit of a chance. He just struggled to get close enough through the tunnel turn.
Yeah, couldn't quite get there in time, and as Jake Nichols burns it down on the start-finish line, let's go over your race results. Jake Nichols with the win, Philip Groner in second, followed by John Furness in third, Nichols, Munsell, Matt Kemp, Braxton DeWeese still able to pull off a top 10, and Justin Fuller, Connor Kresik, and Shane Terrian rounding out your top 10.
And a lot of drivers who finished top 10 that deserve to finish top 10. I think Nathan Jump, Matthew Bell, they could have also deserved those top 10s as well, but I think they'll be all right with 11th and 12th. Ryan Hart's recovered with all that damage for 13th. Didn't talk about John Forbes Jr. or Rafe Slate or Andrew Payne really all night, but they finished middle of the 11th through 20th range. Brad Slaughter, 17th. Garrett Grant, 18th place finish, and then Swan and Jeff Wright round out the top 20. Jeff Wright, thought we'd talk about him more. He could just never get to the top 10, it seemed.
Unfortunately not, and Greg Mitchell finishes 21st. Alex Weaver was inside the top 10 at 1 point, falls down to 22nd. Levi Heilman was involved in that last lap crash, finishing 23rd. Abby, Alex Bell, Joey Chapman, Senesac, Alexander Bryson, Cedric Hunter, and Justana Sogak round out the top 30.
And moving on back to our next row, really the guys near the back of the field, a night for them to forget. Casey Lakatos in the 50, followed by Zach Carr. Zach Carr, of course, really just was never quite able to catch a break. We always joke, sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball, and in this race, unfortunately, it looked like he was the ball in most cases. Taking a look at Trey Eitzen, who was also involved in that wreck with Travis Beckner. Then it's Tom Bourne, Cameron Hearn, Jeremy Miller, David Weiss, Brad Bronson Stafford, and Ed Robertson with the top 40. As we head to the final page of finishers, RJ Williams and Blaze McKinney, the last of the drivers to take the green flag.
Yeah, and those are two other drivers who were kind of the ball today. Blaze McKinney didn't even make it really 3 laps before his engine blew, and RJ Williams was in that early crash with the 87. But it was still a solid race. Had our fair share of yellows near the end of this one, but still a lot of great action. These Xfinity cars don't disappoint.
No, they definitely don't, and we'll take a chance now. Looks like I was trying to see if we can get John Furness first to get them in order, but it looks like we got Philip Groner and Jake Nichols waiting on standby, so we'll talk to our second place finisher, Philip Groner. Philip, it's a solid run for you, and you're a number 11 machine. Of course, you were up there with Jake Nichols pretty much the entire race, but unfortunately weren't quite able to get there at the end. You were just about a tenth short. Walk us through how that finish went for you.
Restarts are stressful. I'm happy with the second place finish. I just wanted to finish off for Connor at 1-2 again. Yeah, those restarts. Zach almost got to my outside, and I knew if he did, it was over for me for the 1-2 finish at least. But I was able to chop his nose there and set sail.
Yeah, we saw that pretty much it was either you or Nichols that were in control of the restarts for most of the night. Was there coordination between you two all the way up until the end, or were you both kind of on your own agenda and a bit of a handshake agreement of who can outrace who?
Oh, it was definitely counting down every restart. He was pretty much a coach for me all night. After that first pit stop, I'm like, Jake, I'm not making it on fuel. I was about a lap and a half short on fuel than him the entire race. I'm not sure why he led the first half of that race. But yeah, I'm glad I listened to him because I was going to pit. And yeah.
All right, well, Phil Groner, 21 laps for you, led this race. A solid run, a solid second place finish for you. At this point, let you go. Take care and have a best of luck for the rest of the season.
Appreciate it.
All right, now we'll get back one more spot. We'll talk to our third place finisher, John Furness. John, you were up in the battle all night long near the front of the field, but you just quite weren't able to get and break through the hole for the 609 Motorsports teammates up there. How did the race go from your perspective?
Oh, it was amazingly frustrating. Completely awesome. Loved every bit of not being able to pass 609 Motorsports. Actually, it was a ton of fun. But yeah, those guys were good, and it was really tough to pass. But other than that, it was a good run for me, good run for the team. Just really hard to pass here, but it is a fun track to run. The uniqueness keeps you on your toes lap after lap.
Yeah, and actually also, John, too, I'm forgetting because this feels like eons ago. Were you on the one-stop strategy or the two-stop strategy? I believe you were with the one-stop with everyone else.
Yep, I was with the one-stoppers, and we needed a few caution laps there to make it on fuel, which I was pretty confident was going to happen, and then we just got too many. It would have been nice to stretch it out there. I feel like I had good long-run pace, but I mean, it would have taken like a few tenths to make a pass on the bottom. But you never know. Either way, it was a good run. Congrats to 609 on the 1-2. That's impressive. So good job to them. Good race. And appreciate you guys up in the broadcast as well.
No problem. Well, John, solid third place finish for you. We'll let you go. Take care and best of luck for the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
And with that, last but certainly not least, we talked to our race winner, Jake Nichols. Jake, you and Philip had a solid grasp on this race for majority of the night. In fact, I think you led the most laps by a solid margin. 45 laps led to your name. What was the game plan for those final few restarts? Of course, Jeremy Miller was up there. He was on a more unconventional strategy, but how were you trying to control the race with your fellow teammates up there?
Well, I knew whichever one of us got the lead when Jeremy stayed out would probably hold on. Pretty much just countdowns and just trying to help each other out as much as we could with draft. It's kind of hard to pass, so like as long as we just maneuvered our way to be the top guys or on the top side, the first two we could hold on pretty good. John got aggressive there a few times with Philip, but Philip managed it really good. I had really high hopes for him going into the season, both in Cup and here in Pro on Thursdays, and I mean he's exceeded expectations, I'm sure, for everybody. It's great to have a teammate like that. It's unfortunate for Jeremy. I think his strategy was fine staying out. I thought more people would stay out with him. I was kind of surprised to see only him stay out in the caution. We didn't go that far on tires, and the track cooled off a lot, but either way, I mean, you can't predict a wreck. He could have been wrecked anyways by pitting with us, so and restarting around like 5th or 6th. So I mean, either way, it's a good night for the team. I mean, great night for the team. Almost max points. Same thing as last week. We were like 1 point shy of max points in general. So I mean, looking ahead, we should be in a pretty good spot there. I think this gets me closer to Phil in driver points, but to go 2 weeks in a row of 1-2s for 609 is incredible. I mean, hopefully we keep this up and we can just keep racking up 1-2s and maybe even more. You never know.
Yeah, you never quite know. And actually, for the rest of the season, is it going to be cooperation between you two, or is it going to? Do you think it'll be a little bit more of a friendly rivalry towards the end?
I think both. I think I'm very mindset of team. Obviously, in certain spots, you have to think for yourself. Like those restarts when Jeremy was in the lead, I was trying so hard to get grip out of turn 1 to clear Phil to get myself in that spot to take the lead. But I would never put him or any of my teammates, Zach or Jeremy, in a spot where we're going to potentially crash each other for the lead. It's just I'd much rather just be smart and be secure with the move I make on them to make sure. I'd rather take a 1-2 than make a dumb move trying to win the race for no reason and crash us all, So I think it'll be both. Come playoff time, we might be a little more aggressive, but hopefully by then we have a huge team point lead, so we can, be a little have a little bit of gambling with our moves,
All right, with that, Jake, thanks for talking to us. Congratulations on your win. Best of luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, and with that, gentlemen, that's going to be wrapping up interviews here from Pocono. Some entertaining action. We saw a little bit of everything. Some green flag running, some green flag pit stops, and a bunch of cautions and a bunch of aggressive restarts. I got to say, fairly entertaining race here from Pocono.
I think to me, it's the best race of the week, bias aside. I think this was you kind of expected this with the Xfinity car, that it was going to get spread out and you're going to be able to battle a little bit more fairly, but we still, obviously, as John Furness said, it was still tough to pass. You still really had to wait a while to set up moves, but what the lap count kind of provided for us is different strategies. We saw a few two-stop strategies, but mostly everyone committed to that one-stop strategy, which made things very, very entertaining at the halfway point and a little bit after that when we saw everyone on the one-stop trying to battle for who was going to cycle out to be the winner. Then the caution kind of changed that, and that's when it kind of became a little bit of a sprint to the finish, Hunter. Things were very, very interesting, and we saw a few other different strategies near the last 20 laps, and that's where things really got crazy.
Yeah, after that caution in the middle of pit cycle, kind of expected it to go green to the end, but then again, cautions do breed cautions. I just didn't expect them to breed as much as they did here at Pocono. We usually don't see that for the Pro Series, but yeah, phenomenal racing in the first half, and then the second half was just absolute calamity with guys on different strategies and trying to work their way through the field. Massive crashes. Had David Weishart go for a tilt-a-whirl upside down in turn 1, but Overall, a solid race and very deserving of either 609 driver Philip Groner or Jake Nichols. They ran 1-2 for the second week in a row. Looking to make it 3 in a row at Charlotte next week, Finian. Going to be a tough task, but should be a fun one nonetheless.
It should be a fun one nonetheless here. It's going to wrap up action here at Pocono for the Area Pro Series as well as the rest of the Area Series this week. Next week, all 3 series heading over to Charlotte at a conventional mile and a half, but puts on fantastic action nonetheless. We'll see what is in store for us next week. But for now, my name is Finicuna here with Connor Horn and Hunter Slappy. We'll be signing out for tonight. Thank you for watching.